Here we're live. There we go. It's working. Hello, people. If anyone's watching out there in YouTube,
Hi.
watching land, it's me and Ranger Sly again, fresh from his first appearance on the Cover Slinger Showdown. We came a very, very reputable third. Was it third you came? I think it was.
Yeah.
Not bad. Better than me.
Not bad for the first time, yeah.
Yeah. very, very reputable. Yeah, the other window open.
Yeah, I had my other computer, so because sometimes I cannot see the chat for some reason, so
Yeah.
I look at the other computer.
Yeah, you should. I can't remember because I'm mainly doing the streams rather than being on other people's streams. So it always confuses me on other people's streams because I can't see the chat either. And it doesn't let me comment on the chats. I don't know why that is. It's kind of weird. You'd think you'd let other people post in the comment box from the StreamYard, but it doesn't seem to. So never mind. So we haven't got any kind of theme for it. We're just going to hang out and show. I've got some comic books to show from what I've got this week. Nothing super exciting, to be honest. These are all from one seller on Facebook, but he's always good chap. He always because he shows some comics and I'm like, oh, they're a bit expensive. And he goes, oh, I'll knock some off for you.
Oh, that's cool.
So he haggle a bit. And he kind of he accidentally messed up one of the comics I said I'd take. He couldn't find it. But rather than saying, oh, I'll give you the £2 back, he's hunted it down for me on eBay and bought it from somebody else to send on to me. I felt kind of like, oh, that's like above and beyond like the Call of Duty, really. I was just kind of like, oh, that's very nice, mate. You should just give me the £2 back. And also he sent me an extra one from my list for nothing as well. But he ordered from somebody else. So he's like,
wow.
Yeah, I know. It's cool. This is finishing up. It's mostly modern today, actually. This is finishing up my Immortal Men run, so I can read this now. So
I have no idea what this is.
They had like a little thing of like it was a new like bunch of heroes, and there was I'm trying to get most of them, to be honest. There was a guy called Sideways who had some kind of dimensional travel. There was a guy called Damage who was like a DC Hulk kind of thing, not to be confused with the old Damage who was named Grant. So I remember he used to blow himself up. Not that Damage, but like he's like basically a Hulk kind of clone almost. Then there was what else was there? There was Brimstone. It was like a guy who was something to do with the devils. But I'm trying to sort of get them all because they're normally pretty cheap. You normally get them for £1 or 50p. So I'm trying to get the whole run so I can read them. But yeah.
Howdy, werewolf.
I should have watched Naruto. I don't watch anime. I think Naruto is an anime, isn't it? Some kind of anime thing. Do you ever watch them cartoon anime things?
Not really. I watched. I think I watched the first animes that were made in the 50s and 60s.
Okay, right.
They would translate to French.
Yeah.
One was pretty much the Lion King before Disney made the Lion King.
Well, that's right. I heard about that. Yeah, it was
White Lion
something. Straight copy of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And sometimes even the scenes in the first Lion King are copied from the scenes from the cartoon. Yeah. And I remember also a Japanese cartoon called Marine Boy.
Okay.
Who was like a kid who could chew he had like tablets or chewing gums that he could chew, and when he chewed them, he could breathe underwater. And he would throw a boomerang underwater, and the boomerang would go like
that sounds familiar. Someone chewing gum and being able to breathe underwater. I don't know if for some reason you said that it rang a bell. I don't know if it was from that or from something else. Have you got any idea what a Fortnite dance is? Someone called Lubalek wants us to do a Fortnite dance.
Yeah, no.
I know it's a game. I'll go with this. There you go. That may not be a Fortnite dance, but that's the only dance that I'm giving you for today.
Yeah.
Some more modern ones. The latest Metal Men run. What's their face? Platina looking very beautiful. And this one, Chemo's back.
Another nice cover.
Yeah.
Are you a metal fan from the Silver Age, or?
I haven't got that many. I haven't got one from the Silver Age. I've got most of the ones I've got it's like the early Brave and the Bold. When he appeared, they appear in Brave and Bold quite a few times, don't they? About 3 or 4 times they appear with Batman in that run. I think I've got most of those. But yeah, Yeah, it's one I don't want to add to my list, because if I add it to my list, I'm never gonna be finished with collecting if I keep adding new stuff to the list. So at the moment, the Silver Age is not on my list. I'm just not of the Metalmen anyway. But if never say never. If I saw them, and they were going cheap, I would be sorely tempted. Cheap. And there's a nice Brian Boland. I think this is an alternate cover or something.
Nice one.
Yeah, looking pretty cool. He's actually in one of them groups on Facebook. Are you on Facebook? Because Brian Boland's in like this one of the groups on there.
Yeah, I see his cover sometimes. And I was just going to say, I don't remember ever seeing a bad Brian Boland cover.
No, exactly.
He does, and especially when he does Silver Age stuff, when he does homage to the old stuff.
Yeah.
Great covers that I would hang on my walls everywhere.
Yeah, and you can always tell his style somehow, can't you? I mean, I say I'm never really good at sort of telling like artists, but it's just something about it. I don't know what it is, what elements it is that you can look at it and go, "Oh, that's Brian Boland." I don't know where it's there. I look at it and go, "Oh, that's Brian Boland," without seeing it. But I don't know how you can describe art in such a way as to sort of, to point out what bits it is that's, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can't make a sentence that makes sense, but yeah, that was. I don't know what it is. Just maybe it's something to do with the style, obviously, but I don't know what elements of the style it is that makes it stand out as being him.
Well, he has a clean style, an old school style with a lot of very thin lines.
Yeah,
it's very clear. His pictures are always very clear. I just wanted to answer to Werewolf. I know about Miyazaki. I saw Nausicaa of the something 4 Winds, I think, that I like very much. I saw a couple of Miyazaki movies, but not all of them. The ones I saw are all very good.
Yeah,
and I don't wear my cowboy hat. Usually, I just put it on to make like an homage to Caps on Cover Slinger, who always dressed up for the.
That's true. Yeah. I remember like there was an old cartoon, and I think it was originally it was shown in Britain. But it was originally a Japanese manga. And I think they completely changed the name. They might have even changed the blinking scripts. I'm not too sure. But I think it was called Battle of the Planets or something like that. In the UK, it's called Battle of the Planets, I think. And it had like 3 or 4 different guys, all based on like birds of prey or something, weren't they? There was like an owl kind of guy.
Cool design. They were cool design. It showed in North America also under that name, Battle of the Planets.
Right. I can't remember what it was called originally in Japan, but I'm sure it had a different name. And I thought I'd heard that it had different kind of script even up, but I'm not too sure.
Did you ever see a cartoon called, I think, Captain Harlock in English? No? A space pirate kind of guy?
I think Matilda was reading that recently, Captain Harlock. I think.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And also a Japanese show that was very, very popular here. It was called Goldorak. It was about a giant robot. I think the original name is Mazinger in the US, maybe.
Right.
Very cool cartoon show.
I don't remember that at all. I don't know if we had it over here or not. We had like the Hanna-Barbera, like Scooby-Doo and that kind of thing. So I remember Battle of the Planets. I remember there was one called. There was one I think was probably Japanese originally, and it was based on the Odyssey of Ulysses, or whatever, the Ulysses journey. It took him 50 years to get home from Troy or something, and it was kind of like a space version of that or something. I seem to recall.
Yeah, I remember that vaguely. I don't think I watched the episode, but I remember seeing it on TV.
Something like the Adventures of Ulysses or something like that. But this, so mostly modern today. I've got a few from my 2099 Spider-Man 2099 run.
I used to have the first 25 issue of that series when they came out, because it was done by Peter David, which is a designer I like very much, and drawn by Rick Leonardi.
Right.
And after the first 2 years, I think Leonardi moved on, and I stopped buying it. And unfortunately, I sold. It was a part of my collection that I sold many years ago for space reasons.
Right. Yeah, I kind of like basically I got a few real cheap, and I never realized. So I just managed to get a few real cheap, and I thought, might as well try and see if I can get the run, I suppose. I don't think it was going to be going for it that expensive. You know what I mean? I thought it's not like it's a really well-known character, so I thought I'd probably better pick these up really, really cheaply. But then I hardly ever see them. But I got them fair. I got them for about £2 each. These ones, so it's not too bad. I was kind of hoping to get them for £1 each or 50p each, but it seems to be a bit more harder to get hold of than I thought they would be. Do you want to come on, Jambo, and hang out and show some comic books? This is kind of the theme of this. Is just whoever wants to hang out. Anyone wants to hang out. If you fancy showing some covers, you're more than welcome. All right, number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Number 60. Nothing amazing in this one. I've got a few silvers, but like super low grade. And he was like, "Yeah, they're low grade," but I was like, "Well, But
most of my silvers, my DC silver, are low grade as well.
Yeah.
I just want to read the story and have them in my collection, but
yeah. I think probably the highest grade one that I've got of a silver is like there was a Superboy that I saw in the shop. It was like £15, and I just fell in love with the cover because it's got Lana Lang's turned into like an insect queen, and she's got Bee Boy, it's like a boy who's a bee, and I just saw that and I just thought that is so awesome. It's got go-go checks. It looks really pristine. But it cost me £15, but it's like, oh man, I just fell in love with it. I had to pick it up.
the charm of the go-go checks. It adds another notch to
it does.
The desirability of a book.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, look, like Matilda's was like, I don't give a toss about go-go checks, but I don't know anything about it. When I first saw them, because I didn't know about them, so I started doing YouTube videos. I started seeing other people's videos. I saw it, they look really cool. They look really nice, those go-go checks. And every time I see that's a go-go checks now, it's always like, oh yeah, that looks really. It's so simple, but somehow to me it adds something to the comic book. Just having that bit there, and also you kind of know what era it's from as well, just from them being there, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think DC made this so they would show up in the old spinning racks.
Yeah,
where you only saw the top part of the comic book, so they would identify it as a DC Comics right away.
Yeah, I think that was a good system. I think it was a really good idea, actually. I was surprised it didn't sort of carry on with it, but a nice, slightly oldish Superman, 1984.
Also, the years where they had the go-go check was a period where DC was starting to get really creative. It was the end of the 60s. And they were like starting to try something else than the same old recipe they had done for many years on all their titles.
Had to evolve, I suppose.
I love that issue of Marvel Fanfare, by the way. The artist, I think, only did one book, and that was it. Someone called Barnes, I think, who draw the Hulk and Eunice, I think it's called.
Blob, I think it's Blob there.
Blob.
That's Blob. Is that Eunice the Untouchable, is it? Or
Eunice,
Unmovable?
Yeah, that's the guy, yeah.
Yeah, Eunice the Untouchable, I think his name is, yeah. I didn't recognize him, but when you said Eunice, I do remember that name.
And the art style was interesting, but I never saw the name of the guy again. I think it was a tryout. Sometimes they try out new artists on Marvel Fanfare.
Yeah. I don't even know. I think he was selling it cheap, and I thought, might as well pick it up. I know I've got a few Fanfare, but I've not even got written down which ones I've got and which ones I haven't got. So it's like I need to find out where my Fanfares are, what box they're in, and sort of write them down so I don't accidentally buy doubles.
Does it happen to you often that you buy doubles of books because you're not sure? Or
it can happen, yeah, it can happen. Silly things like I went to my local comic shop once with some comics with me because I was reading them on the train. Picked up some stuff from the 50p bin. Got to the pub because I was meeting somebody in the pub. I looked for my comic books, and one that I actually had already in my bag that I got with me to read in my travels, I'd actually managed to pick it up from that shop. Like literally while it was in my bag, I picked up a double of it. Like it was like I saw that and I was just like, oh man! It only cost me 50p, but it was just like I can't believe that.
I know that from watching your videos where you show your comic, something that happens often to you and happens a lot to me also is you go through a run of a series that you're pretty sure you had complete.
Yeah.
You found out that you're missing some issues for some reason and there's no explanation, but it happens to me a lot. I was sure that I had the whole run, and then I'm searching for an issue or just going through the box, and I noticed that I'm missing some issues that I used to have.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, like I find a lot as well. Like comics that I'm sure I bought from my local comic shop at the time, like with stickers on them for other shops, like not even local. Like could be like Liverpool or something. I go, how the hell? I'm sure I bought that as it came out every month from my comic shop. So why has it got stickers on it for like a completely different shop on the other side of the country? And it's like it's probably just my memory playing up, and maybe I didn't buy it from the comic shop. Maybe I picked it up as a lot off eBay later or something. But it just goes to show you your memory. Never trust your memory. Never trust your memory. It's terrible,
especially as we get older.
Exactly. I put it down to the beer and headbanging, so I've got probably worse memory than most.
Do you have many comic book shop in England? Is there a lot of place you can shop around
There's a fair few, yeah. Not like tons, but there's quite a few, I suppose. But I don't frequent that many of them, to be honest. It's because I don't drive or anything like that, so I don't get out that much to sort of visit other shops. Wow, that's cool. I bought Hulk 180 for $93 about 10 years ago. Got it graded. How much is an 8.0 of blinking Hulk 180 going for now? Then
I have no idea. But even back then, I think it was a good price, $93.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? When you look at some of the prices. Let's say for some reason I'm going for Power Pack as well. Because I thought these would be ones I'll be able to pick up cheap. I had one mate like years ago into comic books who was buying comic books as well. And I haven't seen him in years now, but he had the Power Pack one, so I read it from him. We used to read each other's comics, so he'd read my comics and I finished them, and I'd read his when he finished them. Obviously, gave them back, and then a couple of times we had trades as well. I remember I traded my Excalibur comics for his Legion comics, Legion 88 or whatever it was, because I love that Legion run.
Yeah, me too.
One of my favourite runs. It was amazing. Excalibur was all right, but it wasn't a patch on that Legion run.
Yeah, Excalibur was, I thought it was fun early on for the novelty of they were a team traveling in different dimensions.
Yeah.
And also the art was very nice by
Alan Davies. Yeah. He was a good artist. He's a good artist, he is. He's another one, very clean style. Yeah.
But the gimmick got repetitive as the issue go on. I was a big fan of Power Pack also early on when the original creators were still doing it. June Brigman was the artist who was very good at drawing kids that look like kids and not just smaller version of adult.
Yeah. I remember quite liking it at the time, but it's one of those. It seems to be like one of those comics. At one point, you used to see it in the cheap bins all the time, and then you never see them hardly at all. Because I think I was thinking, I should be able to pick them up easily, but then I hardly ever see them now. I think it must have been like maybe 10 and 15 years ago. They was in the cheap bins everywhere, but now you don't see them anymore. It's like the Impact run. I was collecting the Impact, thinking I'd be able to pick them up with no problem, and they proved to be a bit more tricky than I thought they would.
Yeah, they kind of disappeared, the Impact line. I don't know if everybody threw them away in the trash or something.
Yeah, probably.
Power Pack, I can explain, I think, why they disappeared from the bargain bins, because I think Disney bought the rights to the character. There was a rumor that they were developing I'm not sure if it was a TV series or a movie about Power Pack a couple of years ago.
That's cool.
But we never heard back, so...
No, that's the thing is you get so many kind of promises of stuff, and half the time they don't turn out.
Yeah.
So the rest of these are like the low grade ones that you sold me, and I was like, I tried to look at the one. This all got like cover scuffs. I don't mind the spine, but it's the cover scuffs I'm like most like anti. I like to see the front cover to look at least. I don't mind creases and the odd little tiny tear. This is not too huge a tear. But there's one that hurts me to look at, but I wasn't going to buy it. But you give it to me for £1, so I thought, okay, then maybe I can still read the story anyway, so that's good. This one here, poor Superboy. His face is like, man, it hurts me to look at. I don't know. Someone must have put sellotape on it somehow. It's two faces of Superboy, and one of the faces has got a tape pull or something.
Too bad.
Yeah. And you've got a nice another one here. This one's not too bad. A little tiny strip there. I think the spine's not very good on this one, but like,
nice cover though.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. Right,
So
this one's
all
okay.
of these were a pound or two, or
No, these actually have £3, I think. They said that I was like, I would rather pay £2, but I was like, well, he normally gives me money off here and there, and I was like, I'll take them. And this one was in good condition. So this one was £4. And I was thinking to myself, well, this one's £4. It's in perfect condition practically. And that was a £3 for a ratty condition. I should have said, but no, he's a good fella. So I just, I took the bullet a bit. But yeah, I think it was probably all right. If you're buying them on eBay, it probably costs more than that anyway. So, and this is the last one. It's got another little pull there on the rest of it, as you can see. All right. So
yeah,
a nice old Superman and a couple of old Superboys from my run. So that's it. That's all that I got this week.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. Mainly like ones to go to fill out some runs that I'm trying to collect. So that's the thing. I don't know. Are you kind of like focused with your buying? Do you say I'm going to finish off getting this run before I move on to anything else, or are you like you just get as they come?
I try to focus, but sometimes I'm like a dog seeing squirrels in the trees. I see one squirrel, and then I see another one on that side. So sometimes I get, for example, during the last holidays, I was trying to finish the Silver Age, the Go-Go Check era of the Legion of Superheroes in Adventure Comics.
Yeah, me saying, I think, yeah.
And I thought I had checked all the issues on my list, so I went for another series that I wanted to grab some issues, and then when I'm reading them, and I noticed I'm missing 2 issues that I didn't get. But sometimes I will focus on something for a while, and then my focus will shift on another thing without having complete what I wanted to complete.
Yeah, I've got some I've got the first Ghost Rider series. I probably got about 10 more I need, and like the Defenders, I need probably about 10, 12 more. And I think to myself, maybe I should just concentrate on getting those finished. So I think to myself, but I kind of just wait and see what pops up, really. And if I see it, and I'll pick it up, So this month I bought a load of like modernish ones, which I'm not super fussed about getting finished. But I want to get them finished at some point. But I was thinking to myself, maybe I should have just like concentrate. The thing is, as well, when you if you try and concentrate on getting it, it's going to cost you more because then you've got to go on eBay. You have to go on eBay and pay eBay prices, which are always a lot more. So I kind of wait till I can see them cheapish on Facebook. Mostly.
You're lucky if you can. I mostly go through eBay because there's not a lot of variety in the local. Well, first, there's not a lot of local comic book shop.
Yeah,
and also the stuff I like is the older stuff, and most of the local store have modern stuff mainly.
Yeah.
And when I ask if they have older stuff, they're gonna show me some stuff from the 90s.
Yeah, wow.
So I have to go on eBay. So that's another reason why I have a hard time focusing on something. Like you said, I'm gonna try to find good deals or bargains. I often try to buy lots of books that are in lots instead of just single issues.
Yeah.
Or I will try to find a seller who has many different issues of the same series I'm looking for. I have a few sellers that I follow on eBay that do auctions every week, and they usually have interesting stuff. So I will follow them, and if I'm going to put on my wish list a few things they have. I'm going to try to bid on them, but if I have too many books that the bidding goes too high, I just
yeah. I try and be sensible with it. But I also like to I always like to also sort of I think people are the last minute scouts. I think I'll put a little bit more on there. If you want to come and bid higher than me, then you better can have the book. You know what I mean, Bo? I'm not going to make it easy for you. I'll make it a little bit, not go crazy, obviously, because you don't want to put a silly amount on. But that's that. It's kind of. I mean, I like my comic shop, although the postage is a nightmare because they normally have so every now and again, if I really want to finish off the run, I'll say that maybe I'll do a buy on my comic shop. but like I'm still trying to be sensible. I keep saying it all the time. I'm always getting books here and there, but I'm still really not in a position where I should be buying comic books. But I just like, so I try and keep it under control. I kind of made a big shopping basket on my comic shop, probably at least a couple of months ago now, and I put it in the shopping trolley, but then I never cashed out, kind of thing. So I'm like, well, it's in the shopping trolley, and maybe one day I'll go in there and actually purchase them. So somehow it was like, although I know I wasn't actually going to buy them, it felt like I was buying them because they were in the shopping trolley at least. So you get the craving for a comic book. It's kind of like I was trying to cheat the craving basically by pretending that I was buying them without actually buying them.
That's not a bad idea, by the way.
Yeah, it kind of worked. I think I must have fooled the craving.
Get the fix without spending money.
Without actually spending the money. Yeah. Oh well. Well, what you've been reading? Have you still? I think last time I spoke to you, you were saying you were reading that adventure run of Legion.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, last time we spoke.
I haven't done a lot of reading this week. I'm still about I read comics mostly before I go to bed at night.
Yeah.
And this week I don't know why I was tired, so I would read like 2 or 3 pages and start moving off. So I haven't done much reading, not much comic book reading. But I wanted to show. I know you're a fan of horror and pulp era stuff and all that. Are you a fan of Robert E. Howard?
Yeah.
Conan and all that.
Conan, Cole. I just read the Cole run a little while back. I've completed the first series of Cole, and
Have you tried this one, Dark Agnes?
Never heard of that one, I don't think.
Well, she was an obscure Robert E. Howard character that was part of the, I think, inspiration behind Red Sonja.
Okay.
Robert E. Howard created 2 fantasy-type female characters. One was Dark Agnes, and another one was Red Sonja of Rogatine, I think was the full name. And Sonja wasn't written the same way as the Marvel comic books. It was
they changed their story, didn't they? So they made her in Conan's era rather than. I think she was supposed to be a lot more modern, wasn't she? Like in Europe or something like that.
Exactly. Both of them were set in Europe in historical time. Like Dark Agnes is at the time where the Turks were trying to invade, or was it Red Sonja? Was at the time when the Turks were trying to invade Europe.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was curious because I've heard of Dark Agnes for a long time, and Marvel did a short series. I think it was only 3 or 4 issues. So I tried number 1, and I also got number 2. See, she has like a gun, this one. So
okay, it's
like during
flintlock pistol kind of gun, or
flintlock with a rapier. I think it has a glare.
Yeah. Who's doing the art? It looks like nice covers anyway. That's
yeah, these are the variant ones because they're the only ones I could find. I'm not a collector of covers. I won't. If I have a one of the variants I like because of the artist, I will try to get it. But in this case, I just got a good deal from a Canadian seller on eBay. So, but I was a bit disappointed by the story.
Right. Yeah, it can happen. Is it? What was that with the story? Just a bit flat, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they followed the original Robert E. Howard story because I haven't read it. The book version is very hard to find. I think Dark Agnes anyway was just a short story.
Right. So
same with Red Sonja. I'm not mistaken. If Bill was here, he could he's the Robert E. Howard guy. He could confirm that. But I think it was only short stories about those 2 characters. Okay,
it wouldn't surprise me because he was rather prolific, wasn't he? But he also died quite young, didn't he? So
yeah.
Yeah.
He killed himself. He was only in his 30s, I think.
Yeah, I think he was about 30. I think I'm really about 30. I think he had some major mental problems. I'm not too sure. He was very, but yeah.
He had a deep psychological problem.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I heard anyway. But yeah, took his own life with a gun, didn't he? Shot himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
he's got to be quite disturbed to do that kind of thing. But I would say I read the Cole run recently because I told you I did a Cole themed metal podcast.
Yeah.
Conan only came about because a Cole story was turned down. So you rewrote it completely as Conan, a new character, and that's the first. So the first Conan is just a retold Cole tale.
Yeah, and Marvel had a problem because Roy Thomas, wrote very little new Conan tales most of the time with adapt stories.
Adaptations, yeah.
And on Conan, he started to adapt also Cole stories into Conan stories.
Yeah, that's right.
When Marvel launched the Cole stories, you could see that some of the stories almost had the same title, and they were the same stories because all Roy Thomas did was adapt stories. So
yeah,
they adapted.
I remember when I bought some Conan, and they adapted stories. It's called Kofar, who was written by Gardner F. Fox.
Oh, okay.
He wrote a character called Kofar the Barbarian because I've had a Kofar the Barbarian book that I bought in a jumble sale when I was a kid, so I've had that for years. And
I think you showed it in one of your videos.
I did.
You showed your bookcase.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, a long time ago. So it's quite cool to see that being adapted into a comic book.
Also, one of the villain that has become a Conan villain was actually a Cole villain.
That's right, Tulsa Doom.
Yeah, that's it. Tulsa Doom was a Cole villain. Yeah. And, they were stuck with Conan with it.
And he's carried over into modern Marvel, isn't he? He's fought Spider-Man and the X-Men, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it might have been a team up or something like that. I think he took over New York and turned it so it looked like it was a medieval fantasy setting for a while. I think it was X-Men and Spider-Man crossing over.
Was it the issue where Mary Jane is transformed in Red Sonja or something like that?
Yeah, I think there's one like that. I can't remember if that's the same story or not, or whether it's a different story, or whether it's part of that story. I forget now. Yeah, I can't remember if it was another story. Yeah, all the stories rolled into one in your head, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I was reading the chat. Werewolf was saying that Red Sonja chainmail bikini was on the cover of Savage Sword Conan #1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know all the covers.
Might be.
Apparently,
yeah, because she had a normal chainmail early on by Barry Smith.
Windsor Smith, yeah. That is a bit silly, the old chainmail bikini. It's was she the first fantasy woman to wear such a pathetically useless garment? Was she the one that created the trope for all all warrior women to follow, or had it already been done by some other character maybe?
Also, it must be uncomfortable to have chainmail on your breast and
chafing. Oh, I know when they're nursing babies, it's supposed to be uncomfortable.
And when it's cold outside and you have chainmail freezing on your.
Oh yeah, doesn't bear thinking about.
The only practical reason I would see a swordswoman fight this way would be to grab the male's attention.
Yeah.
Through her body, so that they don't pay much attention to the fight. But
sexy sword fighting. Sexy sword fighting. It's a technique that Red Sonja's mastered. I'm not sure how good it would be, but there you go.
I have a couple of other comics I bought a few months ago that I'm not sure if you knew about them. Oops. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Did you push something? Did you push the wrong button?
Yeah, again. I think they came out a year or two ago, but a seller on eBay was selling the whole set of. I'm a huge fan of a Canadian artist called Darwin Cook.
Oh yeah.
You know that, and he did the first issue of covers for
Mandrake Magician.
Mandrake the Magician for a company called Dynamite, who did the King features characters for a while.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to get a Mandrake run. I bought one Mandrake. I think it's a 60s Mandrake. And I managed to pick up one, and I haven't seen any more since, but they're kind of on my list. But I think I got really lucky with that one because I got it really cheap. And I'm sure I got a good, I think whoever didn't know that they were selling. Sometimes you get that. Someone was selling a Hawk and Dove, like one of the first series of Hawk and Dove, for a couple of quid, but someone else got in there before me. It was like, man.
And he did also Jungle Gym #1.
Wasn't there a TV show called Jungle Gym back in the 70s or something?
I'm not sure about 70s. I know there was a serial about Jungle Gym. I'm not sure there was a TV show, maybe in black and white in the 50s or 60s, maybe.
Because I remember when I was a kid, I had a brown teddy bear, and I called him Jungle Jim. I remember that, and I don't know if I got it from like a program I saw when I was really, really, really young. But I remember the teddy bear. But I had a feeling there was a show or something that I might have named him for. But anyway.
And he also did Prince Valiant.
Are they all really from King publications? Are they? Then did you say?
Yeah, King with a comic strip. But I wouldn't recommend it outside of the covers. I don't think I will keep them in collection. I don't collect comic books just for the covers because the story is very bad.
Right.
They try to bring all these characters together, and for me, it doesn't work to have Prince Valiant in a context other than medieval times, or have Jungle Jim go in space with with Flash Gordon. He also did a Flash Gordon cover, but I don't have it here.
Crossover. Some crossovers shouldn't be forced. They do like to try and force the occasional crossover, don't they? It's like, no, just leave it. They've got to stay in their own element, otherwise they don't make sense.
Comic Book Fever did a play on words here. Jungle Gym was on my playgrounds.
Jungle Gym, yeah. I wonder if that's where that was originally the joke when it first came around. I don't know.
Maybe, eh?
Maybe. I remember the series. I used to like King of the Rocket Man. I don't know if you had that there. We used to have that like tea time kind of like. I think it was an old like cinema serial from the it was a serial. And he used to play it on the TV. Yeah, he used to play it on the TV. I just remember King of the Rocket Man. That kind of like the way they sort of announced it, and the Flash Gordon ones as well. I actually bought the box, like a box set of the old like black and white Flash Gordon serials. It was quite fun to like watch them again. I forgot there was actually a Shark Men. There was like an episode with Shark Men, and like just people swimming around in a pool.
I'm not a very big serial fan. I haven't seen many of them. I've seen some bits and parts, but I've never watched a full serial 15 episode. Flash Gordon was the one with played by Buster Crabbe.
Yeah, Buster Crabbe, Buster Keaton, someone Buster.
No, Buster Crabbe.
One of the Busters.
Keaton was a funny guy.
He was the one. Did he want to fell off buildings and stuff? I can't remember now. I get my people mixed up. Yeah. Yeah, Buster's quite an unusual name, but yeah, that's probably why I get him mixed up.
I think he played most of the famous characters. He played Tarzan. He played Flash Gordon. I think he played Buck Rogers also, Buster Crabbe. He was also in a few westerns. He played all the typical adventure hero types.
No, they weren't Street Sharks. Street Sharks is, I think, came after my time. Street Sharks. I know vaguely there was a cartoon of some sort, but I don't think I ever saw that cartoon.
Never heard of it.
I think I was probably down the pub getting drunk by the time Street Sharks came out. Another one that I love talking about, kind of like serials, but like black and white. Harold Lloyd. That was another one that was repeated. Like
not a lot of people know Harold Lloyd or talk about him. He was my favorite guy. He's the first from the silent era that I discovered as a kid. Laurel and Hardy, but even Laurel and Hardy were more in the speaking movies. But Harold Lloyd was a favorite of mine.
Yeah, because he was played in like the same kind of sort of time slot, like just after tea time for the kids, just after the cartoons or whatever, just before the news. I think the news comes on 6 o'clock, and these programs will be like 5:30 or something like that, just before the boring news at 6. And it'll be like Harold Lloyd, it'll be like the King of the Rocket Men, Champion the Wonder Horse, and Flash Gordon. So yeah, Harold Lloyd was cool because like he did his own stunts, didn't he? His stunts were crazy, kind of hanging off clock handles, and he was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what Werewolf was saying, hung off clocks.
Yeah, did he say that? I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And like just crossing over train tracks. There's a train just behind him, literally like sort of half a yard behind him or something. Like, didn't he do that one where he's like the front of the house fell off and he was like in the window? So he
that
was
was
just perfectly.
Buster Keaton, actually.
Oh,
I was going to say
okay.
both of them were like Daredevil funny actors, and Buster Keaton was also They use special effects, of course, and the special effects were mostly, in the case of the house, I think they just measured where the window of the wall would be when it would fall, and he would stand there. That was the special effect. But
well, that's more of a stunt than a special effect, I think, isn't it? Special effect would mean like they faked it, but they actually did it, didn't they? They actually dropped the house on him.
On YouTube, there's a video about the scene about Harold Lloyd when he does his famous clock hanging, and you see it was actually the way the camera was positioned, and there was no danger at all. He was like, there's a floor underneath, and the way the camera is positioned and the car back
makes it look more dangerous. Yeah. But it kind of makes sense because you really need to be taking those risks.
Yeah, but Buster Keaton, I think, broke a few bones while he was doing movies. And Harold Lloyd was missing a finger or two from one of his hands, but never shows because they always tried not to film the hand too close. Or I don't know if he lost the fingers during movie making or not, but I know he was missing a finger or two. From one hand.
I watched some Laurel and Hardy. The Laurel and Hardy weren't bad, but they were all right. There's some funny bits I remember, but they weren't like a favourite at all of mine. But,
you have to see the earlier movie. The last few movies they made were not their best. The one they showed on TV mostly were the last movie they made together, but the early ones, Sons of the Desert, and what was the one where they're out west? I'm not good with remembering names.
No, I don't remember. I remember vaguely watching them. That's about it, really. So it's a long time ago. But
after Harold Lloyd, I would say Laurel and Hardy are my favorite.
I can't even think of any others, to be honest. So I didn't see that match. Just repeats, obviously, on whatever channel was showing them. I'm sure there's probably some others, but I can't. I remember Harry Houdini did some, didn't he? He did some.
At the very early beginning of movie making, he did some special effects because he was a magician, so he know how to present stuff that would appear in a way.
Yeah, escapologist as well. When he escapologist, I think I remember seeing a scene like where he's like tied to a wall or so, and he picks the handcuffs with his feet or something like that. Some crazy kind of thing, like holding a lockpick in between his toes, and like stretching himself up. And I'm sure I think I'm remembering that right, but I could be wrong. But yeah,
you mean the one underwater?
I can't remember. I think Walt was rushing in, and I think he picks a lock above his head with his toes or something, like a pick between his toes. I forget now, but I know it was some kind of crazy stunt like that. I never watched the Three Stooges. Never saw the Three Stooges, to be honest. I don't think it ever got shown over in the UK. I know that was kind of like slapstick beating each other up. Oh yeah, the Marx Brothers. Saw a few Marx Brothers ones. They were quite funny.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of Three Stooges either. I don't think they showed up on Canadian TV. I've watched a few bits they did later on, but while I was a kid watching TV, they weren't. I don't think they were available on TV in Canada.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention Abbott and Costello. I used to watch Abbott and Costello quite a bit, facing off against the mummies or whatever, the werewolf and Dracula and all that kind of thing. Abbott and Costello were cool.
Yeah, it's Who's on First.
Yeah.
And the one with the they had a series. They had a TV series also. Abbott and Costello, I think.
Okay. I listened to their radio show. I listened to their whole radio show at one point. They did it. Yeah, they he was able to get like on a podcast app, and I think I listened to at least 2 or 3 seasons of their radio show. Most of their comedy was about like mistaken like mishearing and that kind of thing, and words sounding similar. That kind of. There was a couple of other ones that were in the same kind of vein.
Yeah, they were less slapstick than the Three Stooges was very visual. But Abbott and Costello on radio, it makes sense because it was all about dialogue and timing.
Yeah,
and their dialogue and wordplay also.
Yeah, lots of wordplay, and it was the classic kind of straight man and like funny man kind of. You know, one of them was silly, and the other one was trying to sort him out from doing silly stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they made a great team.
I think also when I was younger, I couldn't like remember who was who, and I always thought that the little one was I can't remember what it is now. For the little one is Lou Costello, isn't it? And the little chubby one is Lou, and the straight man was Bud. I think I can't remember now. I remember I was thinking it was the other way around, but I think Bud Abbott was the skinny straight man, and Lou Costello was the funny man, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, Lou Costello was the little round guy,
little chubby fella. That's right. I remember when I was a kid, I thought it was the other way around for some reason. But I don't know. I thought Bud sounded like it should be the funny man. Like, but yeah, I think I later on found that it was the other way around. What I was thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah. Because I told you about my podcast. I do my podcast. For some reason I was listening to a lot of Abbott and Costello, their radio show, and every week they signed off. He would say goodnight to everyone in Paterson, New Jersey, because that was where he was from. So he said goodnight to everyone in Paterson, New Jersey. I made that my sign off on my podcast for about 3 years now. At the end of every show, I say goodnight to everyone in Paterson, New Jersey before I finish my show. And I don't think anyone's got a bloody idea what the hell I'm talking about. It's all like, what the hell was that about? What is he saying that for?
Yeah.
These things amuse me.
One thing I started to watch this week, I don't know if you saw this, Stargirl, the TV show.
Yeah, I saw the Stargirl TV show.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'm struggling to finish the first season DVD set.
Yeah.
I'm only up to episode 3. And I'm not very eager to see the following episode. It's really, I had to get myself, okay, I'm going to try to watch an episode tonight. I thought the dialogue was like a kid show from the 70s.
Yeah, it's very kid friendly. It's not too highbrow or like it's definitely for the kids, you know. And I kind of just enjoyed the action and seeing the characters that I know. So I kind of enjoyed it.
The most interesting character I thought were the bad guys. Icicle and Brainstorm in the first few episodes were interesting, and they grabbed my attention. The girl playing Stargirl is a bit annoying to me. I like the character. I like the comic book when it came out.
Yeah.
And I think James Robinson, who was the writer of the 90s Starman, was one of the writers of the series, and I was disappointed that the stories and dialogue are
right.
It really was written, but like a show. It reminded me of 70s shows, like the ISIS show and the Shazam show in the 70s. With ridiculous dialogue, and from what I can see where it's going, like I said, I'm just on episode 3, but the next episode she's going to recruit new member of the GSA, and from what I've seen, she's going to recruit people from her high school.
Yeah, they end up getting I think one of them becomes Wildcat.
Yeah,
but the female Wildcat, though, not the one, not the original Ted Grant or whatever it is. Yolanda Montez or something like that.
Yolanda Montoya, I think.
No, Montoya is the cop, isn't she? It's like Montoya, but I don't think it's Montoya because Montoya is the cop from Gotham who become the Question. Right. Yeah, the name's like Yolanda. I'm going to trust
you on this because you're much better than me on
yeah, and there's also I think one of her girl chums becomes the Dr. Midnight, but the Beth Chapel version of Dr. Midnight. I think that was her name. But yeah.
Was she in the comic? There was a female version of Dr. Midnight in the comics?
No, in the comics there was, yeah. In the comics there was at one time. Yeah. She took over before the new guy, I think it was called Peter Cross or something like that. I think the modern guy is like a Danish guy, I think. Was it Charles McNider? I think it was the original one.
Yeah, the original, yeah.
And then there was this Beth Chapel. It's kind of interesting, like, because knowing the comic books, so these two young girls just become these new characters, like the new Wildcat, the new Dr. Midnight. They both get killed in Eclipso. They both get eaten by hyenas in Eclipso, like comic book in the 90s. So I like seeing these young teenage girls like becoming superheroes. I think, it's a shame they're both going to get killed by Eclipso, isn't it? But yeah, obviously then they're going to change the story for the TV show. But in the comic books, they all got like killed in one episode. Beth Chapel, was it Beth Chapel? Maybe it was Beth Chapel. What did I say? Can't remember what I said.
Alex Big Blue says, yeah, Beth Chapel is a cool name. It is a cool name. But anyway, I struggled. I want to finish because I bought the DVD.
Yeah,
$3 on Amazon, and I ordered it because I hadn't seen it. I don't watch TV anymore, so
yeah.
And I've seen the preview of the second season where they're bringing in Shade, the villain from the Starman and also the Golden Age Starman. So I was intrigued by that, but I don't usually watch those. What do they call DW, AW shows?
Yeah, CW.
I watched the first few episodes of Flash when it came out. I thought it was fine. But I kind of Arrow. I haven't seen Legend of Tomorrow. I haven't seen. I've seen the first episode of Supergirl, I think.
Right.
But all of them that I've seen so far had much better dialogue and script than this one. This one was.
I think that is aimed at the younger kids. I think that Stargirl. I think it's real kind of like teen. But I kind of like have low threshold when it comes to these shows. I'm just happy to see some superhero stuff, and I just kind of like, rather than worrying about it being too close to the comic books, or I just like. So I'll get enjoyment if I see a character that I know and I remember something from a comic book. Go, that's so and so and so and so from the comic book. That's cool, and that kind of get my enjoyment out of that somehow.
Hi, Pages.
Well, rather than being too worried about the storyline, I kind of like it's kind of like throwaway kind of entertainment. I think of it as. I don't think consider it as being something I'm going to remember forevermore. Just as long as it provides me with like an hour of entertainment while I'm watching it, then I'm happy with it. I don't have high expectations, so I don't get disappointed.
Yeah, I'm the reverse of you. I think I'm not a great public for. I'm usually satisfied with the movies about superheroes or comic book characters in general.
Yeah.
Same with TV shows. I'm always disappointed. So most of the time, I don't even watch them. I like the Marvel movies because they're fun to watch. But no TV shows. I don't remember ever seeing a comic book TV shows that were based on a comic book that I really liked.
No, I just think they're never going to be what you like. So I don't worry about it too much. I just think to myself, they're never going to be exactly as we picture it to be. And so I just sort of go with the flow. So okay, we'll just see what this person makes of it, and just don't overthink it. Just go with the surface kind of enjoyment of watching some battles and seeing some of the characters I know on the screen.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, I remember the first when the 1989 Batman movie. I absolutely hated it. I really, because I was in that mindset. Oh, this wasn't in the comic. This wasn't what Batman wouldn't do. That's not the Joker. I'm totally nerd raged. And I was just sitting in the cinema. I was literally seething. I was literally like that. I was like, what's he doing? Batman wouldn't do that. That kind of thing. I don't know what even points I was thinking of. But I remember when the airplane come past, it had a pair of scissors on it to cut the balloons. I was like, oh my, I knew I was that close to standing up in the cinema and going, no! But after that, the agony of watching that, which to me felt like agony, I stopped worrying about it so much, and that's why that kind of broke me. Okay, they're not going to be what we expect. They're not going to be comic book correct. So you just got to accept it and just, So the favourite bits for me whenever I watch a film is if there's something that really resonates with me from the comic book. That's the way I get. Oh yeah, this is really close to the character. So I kind of get enjoyment out of little bits of that happen in little smatterings through the film, and anything else that they do is okay. That's just their interpretation. It's an alternate world Batman. You wouldn't do that in the comic books, but this is a different version. Don't worry about it. So I kind of trained myself not to
Maybe.
get too fussed. Yeah.
But for me, the problem is when they don't respect the character. I don't mind if they change the costume. They have to change the costume because movies and comics, it's not the same and all that. I don't mind if they make small changes to the characters. But I do mind when they change the whole personality of what's the character is about.
Yeah.
So there's some of them I like. I like Watchmen, and I was surprised to like it because for me, Watchmen is a very precious comic book. It is a masterpiece. So adapting masterpieces even harder than just adapting a regular series. But I thought he did a good job.
I thought it was really good as well. I really enjoyed it in the cinema. It was probably one of my most enjoyable superhero watching experiences when I saw that at the cinema. I was like, I was just. Yeah, I think it was like, for example, like scenes like this, the funeral scene for the comedian. I looked at that. I thought that's exactly as it is on the comic book. I swear that the gates of that cemetery is exactly like this whole scene, the way it pans in. I saw that's like it just felt to me that was like a dead spit of what the comic book was, and it just gave me a chill of excitement, enjoyment. But even the change to fucking what's his name? Dr. Manhattan being like the threat, the perceived threat, instead of like a tentacle thing from another dimension. I would have preferred to take a tentacle thing from another dimension. I'd like to keep that. But I don't see why they couldn't have kept that. Like, it's superhero world. It's like, if people can grasp the concept of, Dr. Manhattan, why can't they, accept the concept of a genetically created monstrosity sending out psychic waves or whatever, being teleported, But no, they went with a change, but it still made sense. The change still
works.
Made sense. So,
that's the bit part. I agree with the guys on the chat that I remember liking the Hulk TV series from the 70s. Also, it was a great concept where a Banner would move from town to town, a bit like the Fugitive.
It was like the gamma irradiated version of the Littlest Hobo. Like or Lassie,
or like I don't know if you ever saw the '60s show called The Fugitive. Was the same type of guy who would move from town to town because he was an outlaw.
Richard Kimball was his name.
Yeah, Richard Kimball, and also the character from another '60s show called The Invaders.
Okay, beings from another planet. Is that the one?
He was like the only guy who knew that they were Martians. His
name was David Vincent.
My God, you're good with names, man.
The reason I know that one because there's a guy from a heavy metal band called Morbid Angel. His name's David Vincent. So it's kind of like when I saw that, like it had the same name. I thought that's weird. Because he gets lost, like driving down a highway or something. And he goes on a back road, and I could never work out what they were supposed to have been different about them. They're like a weird hands or something like that. You could always tell them by something wrong with their hands or something, wasn't it? And that's how he knew they were the aliens. But I couldn't quite work out what I was supposed to be seeing. Like it looked like he'd always do like a close up on their hands or something, and I go, what's that about his hand that makes him an alien? Then I could never work that bit out. But I'm sure that's what they were supposed to be implying, but.
I don't remember. You have a better memory than mine, but I remember liking the show as a kid.
Yeah.
And also when they did, it was kind of goofy, but I don't know if you remember, there were episodes in Hulk. I think they were movie of the week, some not regular episode of the Hulk, where they bring in Thor and Daredevil.
Yeah, I can't remember if I saw them. I think I probably did see them at some point, but they were quite terrible. Like looking back,
they Thor looked like more like Conan the Barbarian because he had a real helmet and he had big fur here and
yeah, quite funny.
But it was still fun to watch back then.
I seem to recall watching a Spider-Man movie as well, like in the cinema, like a 70s Spider-Man movie or something. Like, and I don't know if it's the one that. Graders Notes did a review of it a couple of months back. I don't know if it was the same film, but I do remember seeing Spider-Man at the cinema. But I can't remember even then. I think I might have thought it was a bit rubbish because it was really poor effects, wasn't it?
Maybe it was wasn't it a movie made for TV.
I think it might have been a TV movie, but I'm sure it was at the cinema. Though. I'm sure I remember seeing it at the cinema in the UK.
Sometimes they would do, I think, for publics outside the United States, they would take a TV episode and make movie up with them. Like they did that with Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
I think they did that for was it Buck Rogers in the 25th century, where they would take like an episode or two and make a movie with it and go on the road with that.
Okay. I mean, that was quite a good show. I remember Backwatches with the robot Tweaky or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Tweaky or Tweaky. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one, yeah. The Cylons were quite cool. I remember the Cylons being pretty
cool
enemies.
Battlestar Galactica, yeah, they blew the whole budget on a few special effects, and they would reuse it all the time. The same move with the Vipers and the silent ships would always come from the right and turn, and you see the
same stock footage over and again. Yeah, I can't remember now. It's literally those programs. All I can remember is that I watched them, and there was a character. I remember one or two characters, but I can't remember any of the stories or anything like that. I remember there were some shiny Cylons. I remember there was Buck Rogers. There was a woman. There was a bird kind of guy as well, wasn't there? On one of the planets, he had feathers or something. Some feathered guy. I'm sure that was in Buck Rogers.
I know there was one in Flash Gordon. There's a
not the Hawkman.
Would look
sure, there was a
Hawkman with big wings.
Yeah. Sure, there was a feathered guy in Buck Rogers as well, but maybe I am mixing it up. It's possible.
Maybe I don't remember much of Buck Rogers. I remember watching it, but I don't remember much about it. I don't think I was interested as much as I was with Battlestar Galactica. I might have, and also I don't think it lasted more than the one season. I think.
I don't remember.
Buck Rogers.
What were they called? Starbuck and Apollo, was it? Was that their names?
In Battlestar, yeah.
Yeah.
Apollo and Starbuck and don't remember. Commander Adama.
Robot dog as well, wasn't there? The kind of robot dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I want to say Maxi, but
Space 1999 was quite cool.
That was
one from when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the spaceships in that were quite cool. Them little, like the rocket things, like they kind of seemed like they might work almost. I don't know why. They kind of look quite, because they weren't sort of. The boosters look kind of real somehow. I don't really know. They look like,
they look like industrial ships. Made to work, because you could see like the outside, the legs had like a bumper on them, so they would because the old rockets on science fiction show would land on their, not the wings, but what do you call the they would land without having real true landing gear underneath. And the one in Space 1999, they had like you could see they had like big box.
Like shock absorber, wasn't
it? Shock absorber. Exactly.
Yeah. Apparently, there was a Birdman in Buck Rogers. I wasn't dreaming it.
Okay.
I can't remember. There was a kind of bird kind of guy in there. I can't remember if it was a regular character or not now. If it was a one-off episode, I don't remember. I remember the Space. There's another one. I remember it. But if you ask me anything else, that's it. I remember there was a program called Space 1999. I think I had the toy for it at one point, of the little rocket ship. Pretty sure I had one of those.
Dinky,
and I remember there was a woman.
It was a dinky toy.
Yeah, possibly. And there was a woman who changed shape, wasn't there? She could change into any...
Maya.
Yeah.
Well, I had such a huge crush. Maya was played by a German actress called Catherine Schell.
Okay.
Or German origin. I don't know if she was actually born or lived in Germany, but her real name was Catherine von Schell.
Okay. Her eyes used to change, didn't they? They'd concentrate, and
the camera would zoom in on her eyes. Inside your eye, you would see in what shape she was going to change. And when the camera zoomed out again, she was the animal or the alien creature. There were 2 seasons of Space 1999, and they're very, very different. The first one that was a very brainy science fiction, very science fiction that was very much in style in the 60s and 70s, and the American public didn't like it. So the second season they tried to insert more action-oriented science fiction, and more character-driven. Also, the personality came out in the second season. Most purists will
like guns being quite cool. Like the guns were like around their hands, weren't they? Like that kind of thing. I'm sure they were
quite like cool kind of U shape, and one of the handle of the U would be inside, and then you had like a knuckle almost protector here, and they had like 5 different color spots for the different settings. And so the first season, most purists will say that the first season was the best one because the scripts were very hard science fiction, and very philosophical in the treatment, and the second season was more action oriented, so is sometimes see with less interest, but I like both of them for both of the reason.
I literally can't remember anything about it. I think I vaguely recall them being trapped on a planet in one episode, and that's about all I can remember. But I could easily be mixing it up with Star Trek.
Yeah, Werewolf says the sexy lady in Space 99 was only in season 2. You're right. The character Maya was only in second season. She replaced a character from the first season. I don't remember his name. The actor was Barry Morse, I think. I don't remember the name of the character, and he wanted out after the first season, and so they replaced him with a alien girl. But the actress who played Maya also played another alien girl in the first season. Different character, but technically she was in the first season, but not as Maya.
That's interesting. Does anyone want to come in and chat?
Hi, Matt.
Let us know if anyone wants to come in. I'll drop the link.
Werewolf says that he also had the spaceship, I guess, from 1999.
Yeah, and I have the was it Thunderbirds? I had a couple of Thunderbirds toys. They were quite cool.
You still have them?
No.
That's too bad.
I think it was number 2, and it had number 4 in the bottom of it, wasn't it? Which is a little underwater vessel. Came out of number 4. You had a little like flap that came down, and the little ship would come out.
Number 2 was my favorite because of the different module and all that.
Yeah,
they're worth some money now. Those toys, It's too bad you don't have them.
Yeah, it is a shame. Probably. I had a Boba Fett, like a big like Boba Fett, like 12-inch or something.
Okay, the big one.
Yeah, I had that like really good condition. He had his cloak steel. He had his little rope thing that he used to have as well. He had his jetpack rocket thing, and I had that in really good nick. And I sold it a few years ago. Probably worth 4 times now what I sold it for back then.
Yeah,
I sold it for about 70 quid about probably 20 years ago now. Yeah, 70 quid. But now it'd probably go for a couple of hundred at least, probably. But oh well.
Yeah.
I still got my Monday. I sell my Masters of the Universe, but I went through a phase of selling stuff, and it's kind of like a little bit of regret still, because maybe I shouldn't have done. But it's like there's no point. I wasn't going to look at them again, or play them again, or read them again. So it's like they're better off than the money's been spent now. It's too late to worry about it.
Well, I think at least you got some money out of it. In my case, all the toys I had as a kid, the cool toys, my mom would throw to the trash after a couple of years when she saw that we weren't playing with it anymore.
Yeah,
she would go on cleaning sprees and just throw everything she hadn't seen us use, or so she threw quite a few piles of comic books I had as a kid, and I had a lot of the old G.I. Joes, the 12-inch G.I. Joes, the vintage one, and I had a lot of the Mego Doll superheroes and Planet of the Apes action figures. And, collecting chaos. And she threw everything in the trash.
Yeah, I think I might have had a couple of Megos, but because I remember literally I think I might have mentioned this before to someone. I remember me and my brother sneaking under the Christmas tree, taking a couple of presents and opening them up in the toilet before Christmas to see what it was. And I remember them being like a I think it might have been a lizard and a Spider-Man or something like that. I kind of like, but I don't remember ever playing with them. I know we had them as Christmas because I remember sneaking under the tree and finding them one time. But I have no idea whatever happened to those toys. But it must have been when I was really like probably single figures like age. You know what I mean? Like 6 or something. Who knows?
I had a brother who was only 1 year and a half behind me, so we often, as kids, had the same interest with superheroes and all that. So it was cool because he would get some, I would get some. So we ended up with a big bunch of Mego doll superheroes. We had Spider-Man, the Lizard, Superman, the Joker, Robin, Aquaman. I had Green Arrow at one point, which was a more rare figure. Oh, we got
Collecting Chaos. How's it going,
hey, guys?
I figured if you're going to drop the link, I'll go ahead and
that's
take you up on
it. Yeah, cool.
Welcome.
Yeah. So we've chatted. I've shown all my comic books that I've got this week, and like it's always good to have like fresh brains and in the chat to remind us of stuff we might
I got a comic
about.
book today.
Oh, cool.
And it was shipped in this. That's like a record box.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
I mean, they just went all out. But, you'll get a kick out of this.
Panic.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. It looks interesting.
Old
The
EC
magazine.
comic.
Okay.
It was an easy comic.
Yeah.
I've got no EC comics. I've got no EC.
It looks in great shape too.
Yeah, it's in nice shape. I would put it at around very good.
Yeah.
Which for an EC, that's great.
Yeah.
I got another.
Is that a horror comic? Or?
Yeah, it's a pre-code horror.
Oh, right.
I've got another one coming in, another one of those, and then I'm getting Darth Gojira is sending me a comic for me to clean, but he's just giving it to me. So
that's cool. That's a very strange cover, like for a horror comic. It's like it looks like it's like a pattern. I was wondering if it was like one of those kind of like humor comics or something like that. I wasn't too sure.
Well, yeah, it's like a spin-off from Mad.
Yeah, it's not horror; it's humor.
Yeah. Oh, it's humor. Sorry, I thought someone said it was horror.
Well, it's a little of both. I mean,
okay.
It fits in both categories.
Okay. You got any EC comics, Sly? You're not really into horror comics, are you? So you probably wouldn't have any pre-code horror.
Yeah, somebody asked me the same question last week when we did a stream together. They asked me if I had any EC comics. I don't. I usually read them in volumes such as this.
Yeah.
This was put out by Dark Horse, I think. And I also have those complete... I like the science fiction. I have maybe half a dozen of those kind of volumes.
I love the name of that. Weird Science is such a cool name, isn't it? Weird Science.
Yeah. They had another series called Weird Fantasy, I think, and they didn't sell as much as the horror stuff, so they combined the two into Weird Science Fantasy, I think.
Wasn't there a thing at a time where they thought that if it had the word weird in the title, it would sell more? Sure, I remember hearing that. That's why we had Weird Western Tales at one point, because the weird...
Yeah, in the 70s, weird was all the rage.
DC did that.
Matt, I've got about 20 boxes there, but that's only about a tenth of my collection.
Wow.
You need to do a room tour at some point, KK. You need to do like a house tour, like just a quick run through the house if you can, just to show how you stored it. You could do it in a couple of parts, maybe. You might have to do it.
Yeah. Ever since I pulled all the toys out of the attic, it's a mess. I don't have room to do anything.
Yeah. We don't care about mess. We just want to see the comic boxes, mate. We won't be critiquing you if you've not dusted or anything. It's like it's all good.
No, I got to get the place cleaned up before I can do anything else. I'm tripping over stuff in some areas.
Yeah, you've got there's a fine line between collector and hoarder. You've got to make sure you tread, if you can, try and tread on the right side of that line if you can. Yeah,
and the line of separation is the hoarder's got stuff. The collector knows where the stuff is.
I follow.
Yeah. I kind of know where my stuff is, so I think I'm slightly ahead of the game. But I've kind of swamped
I'm
myself.
always finding things I didn't know I had.
That's a bad sign, possibly a bad sign.
Well, no, I mean, I bought things and there was something else inside of them. Like,
cool. Yeah, exactly. We're comic junkies. We just like to see other people's collections.
Like this. This is a Superman book.
Oh,
that was put out by Fisher Price, and it came with a tape. Well, I don't have the tape, but
cool.
I bought it. I never opened it. You know? Well, I opened it the other day and got a real surprise because I had no clue that I had that.
That's interesting.
It's like a postcard, but it's got Paul Dini and Alan Bennett and somebody else's signature on it.
Oh yeah.
And it's limited to like I think it's 50 copies, or no, it's limited to 500 copies, and that's number 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a
and since I've had this for well over 20 years.
Yeah. So do you even remember where you got it from?
I have no clue. I think I was at a convention and I saw it and I went, well, I don't have that, so I'll buy it.
Yeah. I know you go, like, you get your Walmart packs and you buy a lot on eBay, but have you got a lot of comic shops near you can go searching through, or what's it like with you for buying? Do you go to like
there's a couple of comic shops around. There's a couple of comic shops around, but they're a long way off. I mean,
right.
It's a good 35 to 40 minute drive for me to get to the closest one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't go as often as I'd like to.
Yeah.
Whereas Walmart's 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
If I drive slow.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. Them like modern, like, see you buy them like little modern packs. I want to do that. It's like, I like to know what I'm getting.
Well, I'm building a box for you that I'm going to ship you eventually.
Cool.
One of them is a comic I know you need.
Yeah.
And then some of the other are some more modern ones that I don't think you will have.
Right. Cool.
But give you a warning right now. You're going to get a Captain Marvel #1. Not the old one, but the newer one.
Yeah.
Because I have so many of them, I need to get rid of one.
Yeah. That's always makes me laugh when you go through your boxes and you go, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of these ones or whatever it is.
Oh, I mean, not
weird. Interesting fact.
If I like a cover, I'll buy multiple copies of it, but I might not buy them all at once.
Right.
I had that. I had that happen with. I believe it was an Action comic that I kept forgetting to mark it off my want list. So I kept rebuying it.
So by accident,
and I'd look at it and go, "I've got that." And then I'd look at my want list and go, "Oh, I guess I don't." You know.
That's the weird thing. Sometimes you see a comic.
And I've got like 14 copies of it now. I took it off my want list.
Yeah. I've done that though, where I've looked at a comic book and I go, I'm sure I've got this comic. This looks so familiar to me. It's on my list as that I haven't got it, but I swear I've got it. It looks so, and so I'll buy it because it's only £1 or so. I'll buy it, and you go, no, I haven't got that comic book. So why did it seem so familiar? And it's like maybe I've looked at it on eBay a few times, or I've been looking through my comic shop, or maybe I've seen it on like some people's channels or something like that.
I've got comics that I thought I had that I don't have because I had them 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 50 years ago, or 60 years ago. I've been doing this for a couple of days.
Yeah. When I first started doing videos on YouTube of my comic books, I was just going through my boxes, which is what I'm doing again now. And like I was going through, and I was I couldn't remember. I thought, I'm sure I had the first like Blue Beetle comic from Charlton. I'm sure I remember buying that at one point, but I wasn't convinced at all that I actually had, and I ended up convincing myself that I didn't have it, and then I found it. So it's like, it just goes to show you how like it's easy for you to forget stuff. But sometimes I think to myself, did I actually buy that comic book, or did I just dream that I bought that comic book, or was I thinking about buying that comic book and I've convinced myself that I have bought it? But yeah,
well, you just never know what you've got. I mean,
exactly. It's mainly the other way around as well. Like I was convinced because I was collecting Spider-Man, like I had all the Spider-Man titles of the certain period. So I just assumed that I had the first Venom and the first Carnage because of the fact I was collecting them and I had them on order from my LCS. It wasn't so I started going through my boxes. No, he never gave me that one. No, he never gave me that one either. And it's just like, oh man, what can you do?
Werewolf by Lunchtime. Considering I've only got one EC comic, soon to have 2, maybe 3, I don't really have a favorite EC comic artist at this time.
I actually got a couple of reprint ones of EC because I never actually read any of them. I don't think, and I was quite impressed with the quality of them. Actually, I thought it was going to be really kind of cheesy sort of stories. I thought it was going to be like a bit naff, a little bit dated, and like and not like very good. But I actually quite enjoyed both of those that I read, both like reprint ones. I thought all the stories in them were pretty decent.
Yeah.
So I expected them to be a bit like it's like, that's so obvious that person's a vampire or whatever. But they were quite entertaining stories in both of those, actually. So if I ever see any reprints again, I'll try and pick them up. But yeah, I won't put it on my list because I don't want to add once it's on the list, I feel like I have to buy it, and it's like
Yeah.
So I try not to add things to my list, but yeah, I'm trying to be strong. Be strong.
That's my list. My little black book.
I've got like a paper list and I've got an online list on my blog as well, so it's all there, so I can search it out when I need to. But I'm kind of like determined not to buy any more boxes now. I'm kind of like
that's my favorite. That's one of the pages from Action Comics. I mean, I've been buying them regularly.
Action Comics are cool because they're always cheaper than the Batman ones. The Batman ones from the same era are a lot more expensive, aren't they?
I only want to go back to like 1950. I don't want to go further back than that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like terrible because I've got like I made a list like of like going back to try and fill all the gaps in my runs, but then I have to see like Superman ones that predate my list. But I see it like I've got to buy it anyway. I haven't got it, so if I see it, I can't help myself. I have to try and.
Yeah. Now the Superman, I'd like to go back to number 1.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I've held, I've looked through copies of Action Comics number 1. I've never actually seen a copy of Superman number 1. Other in pictures, I mean, but I've never actually seen one in person. Action Comics number 1, I've seen a dozen times or so.
Wow.
Considered buying it a couple of times back when it was under 15,000.
We worth a lot more than that now.
Now it's just a little out of my price range now.
Yeah, we could probably pull together and still not be able to afford it.
Yeah, I keep telling myself if I win the lottery I could, but then I'd have to buy a ticket. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah,
they should just give me the money. I shouldn't have to spend anything for it.
Is that right? Superman 1 is a reprint of Action 1.
No, it isn't.
No.
I was going to say that sounded a bit weird. Yeah, I only got the reprint EC books. I managed to pick them up for 50p each, so I was happy with that. If I can pick up 50p
now, I do
reprints.
have the Treasury edition, the larger ones they did in the 70s of Action 1 and Superman 1. And that's why I said no, Superman number 1 isn't a reprint of Action 1. It's not the same story at all.
Even some of the reprints are becoming expensive now, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's gone crazy.
Yeah.
I think they reprinted one recently. Oh, the first appearance of Moon Knight they reprinted and released this earlier this week. And it's like it costs.
The color's awful.
It costs like $5 or $6, and it's already up to 12.
The color's awful as well. I saw that on some people's channel when I've looked at it. The colors are really off, really garish.
The reproduction is not always nice.
No. Yeah, I've got that one. Hey, it's one of the ones I've got. I managed to pick it up a couple of years. Picked it up a couple of years ago. I think I got a good deal because I think it's skyrocketed since I bought it. Yeah, so that's nice.
I used to have it as well, but many years ago, and I sold it for next to nothing because it was worth next to nothing when I sold it. So
Werewolf by Night 32.
Yeah,
that's not in these. It's in the box in the other room.
Do you keep your? Do you have like? Do you separate your expensive comics from normal ones, or do you just keep them in the runs?
Yeah, they keep them in the runs.
Yeah, same here. It's got to stay in the run.
My Action 252 is by like Action 255 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's Supergirl, isn't it? Supergirl. Yeah, that'd be a nice one to have.
Oh, I have a great story about that. A guy came in and he was so excited because he got a reprint of the Actions 252, and he showed it to me and I went, "Oh yeah, I've got that." And he went, "Really? You got this?" I said, "No, not that one. I have the original.
Yeah.
He just looked at me and UAH.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to dig it out and show it to him because he didn't believe me.
Yeah. It's crazy how comics are, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, one like 10 either side are worth $2, and there's one like in between it's suddenly worth $2,000. So it's just like,
Yeah, I mean,
how does it make sense?
Look at the Incredible Hulk 179. It's worth what, $5, $10? 180 is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
It's probably about the price it should be. 181 is just ridiculous, and 182 is worth what, $10? Now here's the thing. There's the same number of them out there, of all 4 of them. There's the same quantity of all 4 of them out there. But most of the Hulk 180s and Hulk 181s are in the hands of dealers, not collectors.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
First story, reprint Superman story from Action One with extra pages. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up my 2 reprints and check them out.
I'm guessing there's a few stories in that comic though, so maybe he reprints the origin in one story, and then maybe there's a backup story or something like that in there. Maybe.
Well, now the Action Comics 1 had a smaller Superman story, and then a lot of other stories. Well,
yeah, so probably the Superman #1 has got that printed plus other stories in it. Probably, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I'll have to, like I said, I'm going to look at it later tonight.
I don't know if I've even got a reprint. I'm not even sure if I got a reprint of Action 1. I can't even remember. I must have a reprint of Action 1. I must have picked one up at some point. But I don't know if I've got a reprint of Superman 1. I don't think so anyway. I don't know.
Well, I would think you would at least have the Millennium editions.
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
They're not that expensive.
No.
Any of the, Swamp Thing, or the first appearance of Swamp Thing, the first appearance of Supergirl, the first appearance
I've got that
Green Lantern and Brave and the Bold. Yeah, pick up the Millennium editions.
Yeah, although I can't remember if I've got the Superman and the Action Comic one #1. No, I don't think I have, because they're not in my. I mean, I've looked through my Superman boxes quite a lot recently, because they're a couple of my nearest boxes, so I go through them quite often looking for covers for cover slingers. I think they did
a Detective Comics one for, or Detective 27.
27. Yeah, that makes sense.
And a Batman one. I think they did both of them. Batman one. I wouldn't mind having it, but I don't really collect Batman, so I'm not worried about it. But the only reason I'd like to have it is it has the first appearance of the Joker.
Right.
And, of course, that was a throwaway character. They never intended him to be in anything but that first issue, and he was supposed to die at the end.
Mm-hmm. He did die in the end, no?
I think he did, yeah. They brought him back.
Surprise! It is the most recognized villain on the planet.
Yeah. And the Riddler's quite funny as well, because he was literally, wasn't he just had one appearance, and suddenly they brought him back in the TV show, and that revitalized him in the comic books, didn't it? I think that's the story.
Pretty much, yeah. But no, he's appeared off and on throughout the Batman and Detective runs. He was the favorite villain. That's why they had to bring him back within a year or two. They had to bring him back because so many fans requested it. So many comic readers requested the Joker to come back.
Yeah, he's no Kite Man, but he's all right. What have you been reading lately, KK? What have you been reading? Anything good?
I'm still working on the Brave and the Bold that they published in 2005 or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good run.
Yeah.
And then I've got a stack of reading things over here that I'm. But if I took all the comics that are on my reading list and stacked them up, they'd go floor to ceiling easy.
Yeah. Mine's not too bad because ones that I've got the read pile of ones that come in, and the other ones that I get come in, I put them in the to get the whole series, and I want to read them once I've completed the series. So when I think about the ones I haven't read, I've got quite a lot that I haven't read, but I'm waiting to get the rest of the book before I read them, kind of thing. So
that's what I'm reading in the comics is the Brave and the Bold series. For regular books, I've been reading a book I'd never read before, Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never read it before, and I got an old copy of it, and I decided to read it. I think it's
is it a classics illustrated or something like that?
Oh no, this is from 1903.
Yeah, no, it's a very old story. I got a vague feeling might have been a TV show of that or something in the
sure
UK at some point, or even a film version of it for some reason. It seems familiar.
And then
Can't remember what it was about.
I finally got around to reading Pride and Prejudice. I'd been putting that off for like 40 years.
Okay.
But I never should have put it off. It's one of the best stories I've ever read.
Yeah, I can't say it's one I've ever sought to read. I saw the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies movie a few years ago.
So yeah, I read more than just comics. I do read regular books too. Novels and historical books.
Yeah, I used to read books like they were going out of fashion. I haven't got to be about at least 5, I don't know, coming on to 10 years now. I just gone out of reading books.
Do you know why?
I used to read books all the time.
Do you know why? We spend too much time in front of the screen.
Yeah, it could be. Could be that. It could be that.
I give myself an hour to read every day.
Yeah, I'm not. I've just this week I've read the Comet, the Impact line of the Comet. It's about 18.
Oh, that was good.
It wasn't bad.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read them when they came out.
I think I read them when they came out, but then I just because my mate collected them, and I used to read them from him. But then I thought I might try and get them because I was thinking they was really cheap, like 50p each, and that because I remember it was always in the bargain bins for years.
Yeah.
But now because I've left it too many years, and you don't see them so much as you used to. So it's took me a while to get them all together. I've got them all now, apart from a few annuals, which I'll pick up when I pick them up, kind of thing. When I see them, I always forget about annuals when I go to like put a series together. I write all the numbers down, and it's up till later I realise there was a giant size one, and there was an annual like every year for 4 years, and it's like
here's a book I picked up recently.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get all of the original Nexus books, but the only problem with this book is some guy wrote his name on it.
Is it not an author or something? Is it? Let's see if I can put you on there. I can see what it says. Oh, right.
Steve Rude.
Oh,
the artist. Nice. Did you meet him?
I didn't realize the signature was on there when I bought it. I said, "Oh yeah, capital version of Nexus 6. Yeah, I'm gonna get it."
Yeah. Do you read many indies, Ranger Sly?
I used to in the 80s and 90s. I used to buy a lot of indie comics from Eclipse first, Comico, Pacific. I have a few long box of these. But not really anymore. The only book on my pull list at my comic shop is Usagi Yojimbo, who is a kind of indie book. It's from Dark Horse now. It went through many publishers.
Yeah.
But I read a lot of indies. I have full run of Nexus, Badger, John Sable.
Oh yeah, John Sable was great. I've been showing them on my Eternal My Light project lately.
Yeah, I've seen them.
A good read. I have a couple of long box of indies from the mostly 80s and 90s.
One of my favorite reads for Independence was Boris the Bear.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You showed them off as well, didn't you? All the parody covers, Boris the Punisher Bear, and all that kind of stuff, wasn't it?
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, Punish Bear.
I never really got many indies. I got a couple like in passing, but I never. I mean, I've got a few Image back in the day, but I've always been like the big two kind of Marvel or DC really is all I'm more into. I'll put the link in again in case anyone wants to pop in and show some comic books or anything. How are you going on your yearly list, Ranger Sly? You made a list of comics you wanted to get at the beginning of the year on the video. How's that coming along?
Yeah, I actually filmed a video in late April or early May that is still awaiting editing from my friend. And it was actually an update on the most wanted. I don't want to show the
no spoilers.
List. Some of them are lined up.
Yeah.
I'm only missing I'm 2/3 in my top 10 most wanted books of 2021 now. Yeah. But it's supposed to be the next video that when my friend has time to edit it. So I don't know when it's coming out, but the next video is all about that.
Cool.
I've got 4 left on my list of comics to buy this year.
How many on your list?
Yeah, how many started with?
I started with 25.
That's good.
Wow.
That I wanted to get this year, and I've got 4 left.
Did you make a video for that? I don't remember seeing a video of your 25.
No.
Are you gonna make one?
I'll make one next year.
Okay, but you can still do it. When you fill up the last 4, you can make a video of it, couldn't you?
The 4 that are left are the Dell Tarzan number 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 6, 8, 9, and 10.
Right. They hard to get hold of.
Oh, I've seen them. Just not at prices I wanted to pay.
Yeah.
I could pick them up tomorrow if I wanted to, but I want to try to get a decent deal on them. But I'm trying to get the whole Dell Tarzan run. Once I have that, I'm going to work on the rest of the Gold Key run, and then once I finish that, I'll work on the rest of the DC run, because it's all actually one long run.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all numbered 1 through the end of the DC when Marvel took it over and started.
The numbers? Did they take over the numbers? Did they?
The numbers
as well?
are consecutive. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
The last Dell comic numbered is the next one is a Gold Key. The last Gold Key comic, the next one is a DC comic.
Interesting.
But when Marvel got the rights, they just started the numbering over again. So
I saw someone was on Facebook was selling Kazar like cheap. There was like, let's go cheap. I thought, no, I'm not going to buy them, because if I buy them, I'm going to end up to write a list down of all the ones that I need to fill up the rest of the run.
Yeah, the question is
be strong.
Was it the first series or was it the second series?
I don't even know. I'm just
was
glad
it the third series or the fourth series?
Yeah, that would have been the thing. I would have picked them up and found out I had bits of every series. I'd have to write them all down.
Or was it the Astonishing Tales?
No, I didn't buy them, so I don't need to worry about it. I resisted the urge. That's the thing.
They're usually very cheap.
Most of those. Yeah, most of those should be cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you get lots of to buy. It's not cheap when you've got to buy 50 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe individually may be cheap, but you collectively they equal a lot of money. Especially when
you should still pick them up for 50p or less, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not adding another thing to my list. I'm not even sure. I say I'm determined not to buy any more boxes. And like everything that I buy now has to fit into the boxes I've already got, because that's enough. That's enough comic books.
I have to keep buying boxes because I'm slowly replacing all of my card stock boxes with the plastic corrugated boxes.
Right.
So. Yeah,
my kind of comic books are kind of like, for example, I don't bag and board them all individually because I never bagged and boarded as I was going along. So like I've got like 10 in a pack, sometimes in one without any boards, and it's like I can't bag and board them individually now because they won't fit back into the box. But for example, I've gone for my Hellblazers, and like they're not all bagged and boarded individually. If I did, I'd have to take them out. It's just too much.
This is what all my collection's going in. This is all Mylars.
Yeah,
I don't even buy the poly bags anymore.
Yeah. What about you, Sly? How'd you store yours? You got lots of boxes and Mylar, or just the poly bags?
I don't have Mylar because I can't afford it. I'm in the process right now of replacing the old bags I had for many years. So when I have a few minutes, I rebag and board stuff. Hey, Paolo.
Personally, I don't see how you can afford not to put them in Mylar. Just a few at a time, because in the long run, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, but it's the first time I've changed the bags and boards in 30 years, maybe, since I started collecting. Because some of the boards were starting to become yellow, and the bags were not as clear, so I decided to change the whole thing. But I couldn't afford Mylar. I have like at least 20 long box of comics, 20, 25 maybe. So it would take too much budget. I would completely have to either stop buying comics for a long while or sell half the collection to buy Mylar for the rest.
Yeah, I'm not going to be getting down that road. I wish I bought them as I went along. But
I think for the Mylite and a halfback, which is what I generally use, or the Mylite 2 and the halfback, it works out to about 50 cents a comic.
Yeah,
maybe in the US, but in Canada, when you have to import it, I've tried. I've shopped around when I was in the process of. I knew I wanted to rebag and board everything. I've checked and rechecked numbers, and it wasn't viable for me to do that with even my lights. Even with my lights without any boards, I've tried everything, and it didn't make sense for the. I'm not very rich. I work at the elementary school, so we don't get paid that much. So no, I can't afford it.
No, you'd need a comic shop just across the border that you could drive to and then come back.
I don't even have a car, so
that would make it even. That does make it a little more difficult.
Yeah, so that shows how little my budget is.
Yeah. Hi, Paolo.
Hey, I don't have any comics in my life. Well, I do have 3 or 4, but I don't bother begging and boarding anything.
Really?
Yeah, all of my old Portuguese and Brazilian comics are piled up inside a closet, and I have to take pieces of the pile whenever I want to get to an issue.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the best ways to store a comic is very inexpensive. Just put them in a file folder. The Manila file folders, they're acid free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they're made to store documents.
That's
you can nickname from the school, Ranger Sly. If you go in the school, you can take them out of the stock room and.
And depending on size, you can put 4 to 6 comics inside.
What have you been reading lately, Paolo? Anything interesting?
I've been trying to read. What was the thing? The thing by Mike Kaluta from the 80s. What was? I always forget now.
He wrote a lot in the 80s.
Yeah.
Mike Kaluta in the 80s.
Starstruck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have the IDW edition, which is oversized. But that thing, the art makes it so dense that I have a hard time getting past page 18, and I don't notice when it starts a new chapter.
Okay.
So, but all of a sudden the scene shifts into something that had nothing to do with what was going on.
Yeah. Sounds confusing.
Yeah, but everybody loves it because it's Mike Kaluta.
Yeah, he's.
I love his shadow from the 70s. It's incredible.
I think Madame Xanadu he did as well, didn't he? The Doorway into Nightmare. I'm sure he did those covers and interiors. I think.
Yep.
You did the covers from the series from when back was called Doorway into Nightmare.
That's right. Do you know what? I've got nothing. I think I might have the whole of that run now. I thought that was really good. That blinking Doorway into Nightmare. The whole series. I enjoyed every story in that one. But they were really top notch, kind of horror stories, and I really like the character of Madame Xanadu because she's very kind of mysterious and she kind of points people in the right direction rather than taking full charge of situations. I thought she was really enigmatic. I thought it was a really cool read.
I read the Madame Xanadu from a couple of years ago. That was pretty good. I'm seeing if it's in one of these Mylars that I haven't put into my collection yet because I haven't added them into my database.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick up there's another Madame Xanadu one from about 05 or something like that I'm a few issues away from getting the full run of. Which I read the first issue and that seemed really good as well. It kind of retelling of her origin. She's now related to the fairy folk or something. I think she was tied in with Etrigan and Merlin back in the time of Camelot kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not here. It must be in somewhere. Mm-hmm. It might be waiting for me to file. I've got that box down here.
I read a couple of things online as well this week. I read that Eternal, the Argentinian book, The Eternal. Someone suggested it to me on one of my reaction videos to music. I said, why don't you check out the comic Eternal? And I thought it was talking about a band called The Comic and a song called Eternal because I do all these music reactions. And I said, is that a band, The Comic? He goes, no, it's a comic. Because it was on a music video.
It's The Comic.
It was really good. I enjoyed it. I read it all in one day. it's pretty decent. It's kind of like ending's a little bit, but yeah, okay. I can feel that.
Oh, I completed my Vertigo run of Madame Xanadu with these two.
That's the one I'm trying for at the moment. Yeah, I'm about
that was 2009.
5 or 6 short. Oh, was it as late as that? Was it? Okay.
Yeah. These were the most expensive ones. They're both covers at number 6.
Number 6. I've got to check if I've got that one already. Well, you got both covers of the same one, have you? I know. I only ever get one.
Yeah, I have both covers. Well, I mean, it was a package.
7 more. Oh, okay. I've got 7 more to go on that run. 7 more to go. So there you go. I also read online that something is killing the children. Everyone's sort of going on about, or one of the modern books that everyone's going crazy for and buying like issue 1s for £200 and that kind of thing. But it was all right. It wasn't a bad read. It was all right. It was decent enough story. I won't pay 200 quid for it.
I did get the first 5 or 6 issues of Department of Truth.
Okay, is that any good?
And it was pretty good, but I didn't get any after that. And the reason is because the first 5 or 6 that I have are the Virgin variant covers, and since I couldn't get any more Virgin variant covers after that, I stopped buying them.
Right.
They just announced that they will make I think Netflix is going to make an adaptation of their Killing the Children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, that happened. They said they were going to do the Atlas comics, too.
That's right. Yeah. Someone bought them, didn't they?
Yeah,
Someone bought the rights.
We're still waiting on that.
When I heard that, I thought, okay, I don't think we're going to see them because they're so kind of niche and hardly known. Yeah. But I didn't really think they was ever going to see the light of day. I think they bought the opportunity to possibly do something with them, but whether they actually will, I kind of thought probably not.
Although I think it's easier if you do something with properties that are ongoing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think it's more than a few people like know those old characters. They only lasted for 3 weeks or 3 months, whatever it was. You know, it's like it's not like there's any kind of like traction with them to make it worth, unless they're just interested in it. Might work. You just don't know, do you? But the one I always missed, one that always disappointed me that I really hoped there was going to be a film version of. I remember it being written was Martial Law. Remember Pat Mills was saying that someone had bought the rights to the martial law.
Been great.
And I was like, I hope they make that film. I really hope they make that film, and they never did. It's a shame.
I think that's
instead they did a Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Sylvester Stallone, but I'm sorry. That movie
that was
the second movie was really good though.
I didn't see the second one.
Oh, it was very good.
It was very good. Yeah.
Every
time I watch it,
was playing him.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban was a good actor to start with, and he really gets behind his role in this one. He talks very little, like Judge Dredd, and the story.
He keeps the helmet on.
Yeah,
keeps the helmet on, which is important
all the time. And it was action packed. It was a cool story. They did a good job on the second one.
The only thing that slightly disappointed me, if anything disappointed me in that Dread, is the fact that he passed Anderson. I would personally have had him failing now because she gave her gun up or whatever she did, because he's such a hard ass. He would say, "Yeah, you saved my life, you saved the day, but you didn't do this, which is in the joke. I'm failing you." And then to be overtaken by the chief judge. The chief judge says, "Yeah, okay, we're going to take that under advisement. We're keeping her," kind of thing. I think that would have been more true to the character, but it was still a great film.
Yeah, I've got all the American versions or the American comics for Judge Dredd, from the original Eagle versions and stuff like that. I don't have it from the UK, but I have those. Yeah,
all good stuff. Yeah, they keep talking about a TV show, don't they? Someone, I think Rebellion, who've got a lot of the UK comic rights now. I think they're doing 2000 AD now. I think they've bought a load of old comic book properties and are sort of bringing out books of them. And I think they had the rights to the TV show, like a Judge Dredd TV show. They were talking about it. It's been a couple of years now. They're talking about maybe Urban might come in to be doing it and someone's writing it. But I don't know if the corona's held it all up or whether it's fallen through or something like that. I don't know. But hopefully it gets made.
Hollywood buys and they don't buy the rights. Usually they buy the option, I think it's called.
Yeah.
For many comic book and novels, and short stories, and not even 1/10 of them get made into movies. They just want to have the rights.
Yeah.
If the buzz for that type of story or movie gets high up, so they get the option to buy the rights.
Mostly, they just take the properties up the market because they give the creators something like $500, but they retain the rights for 5 to 7 years, and then the time window runs out for doing anything interesting with those properties, and they just let it lapse, and you can't do anything with them anymore.
Yeah,
that's why we've never had a decent Fantastic Four movie, because company got the rights, so they cranked out a crap one and just showed it to some people, but they had made a movie, so therefore they retained the rights for another 5 years. And that happens repeatedly. As a consequence, we never ended up with a decent Fantastic Four movie. To this day, I don't think we've had a decent Fantastic Four movie.
Even directors or writers who would have a great idea to make a movie, they're blocked because of that. Steven Spielberg bought the rights to the Blackhawks a few years ago. And that was a movie I was hoping for to get made.
I'm still hoping it'll get made.
In World War II.
You just don't know what's going to happen, do you? It all depends on what the trends are at the time, kind of thing as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm still hoping that movie will get made. I used to love reading Blackhawks when I was a kid.
Yeah, once a friend of mine bought a terrible comic just because he read in the Comic Scene magazine that Steven Spielberg had bought the rights. Okay. So he went out and got Rob Liefeld's Dooms 4, which is probably the worst comic that I've ever read.
Dooms 4, yeah. They were talking about Brigade, wasn't there? There's another Liefeld character, Brigade, was supposed to have been optioned or something like that. But that, again, never went.
That was another bad one. That was another bad.
No, Brigade was the worst sale for a slab comic that I've seen, because I saw a guy advertising Brigade #2 slab for $88.
Wow.
And I thought, what, 50 cents for the comic, 87.50 for the slab?
Yeah, you're right. Dear.
Some of these auctions I see on eBay and stuff like that, they just blow my mind. I mean, $10 for this. That's not a bad price. And you look at the shipping, $50 shipping.
God, yeah.
Why don't I just drive over and pick it up? It'd be cheaper, you know. 2 states over, it'd still be cheaper. And it takes me 7 hours to get out of Texas, you know.
Well, at least in the US, you get the option for more stuff with low shipping than for us who are in England or Canada or. Although I think you're in Spain.
Portugal. Yeah, I just sold some Marvel toys for like $45, and the shipping is $32.
Wow.
And it's going to Canada, but I'm going to split the shipping with them. I'm not going to make them.
Yeah, your shipping seems to be quite insane as well, doesn't it? Even within the own states seems to be really expensive. America,
no, it's not that bad.
It's not bad inside, but if you ship outside, maybe.
Yeah, I can ship 11 comics anywhere in the U.S. for like $8.
Yeah,
that's all right. That's not bad.
But if I want to send it to Canada, which is just, not that far, it's like $30.
Yeah. I've paid $20 just to ship one book to Canada, so.
Yeah, I try not to buy from America. It's too expensive.
This is one of the reasons that I am always on the lookout for trade paperbacks of old stuff. Yeah. Because if I have to hunt down the original issues, and then I have to buy one at a time, it's going to be very, very expensive. So I'd rather just wait until a new trade is released, and there, all the comics, one package, looks like nice in the bookshelf.
Yeah. It's kind of a sensible way of doing it, to be honest. But I don't know. I like something about having the issues. To me, I kind of want to have the comic book issues. I don't know what it is. I have got lots of trades as well, though. To be honest,
it's the memory. It's the memory of reading these single comics, is what it is. Because actually trade paperbacks are the way to go. Trade paperbacks are the hardbacks; those are the way to go. But
yeah,
I just can't part with my singles.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not getting rid of my old.
I can as long as I have more than one.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of my old comics, but there was stuff that I bought that I wish I'd have waited for the collected edition instead, because like the first Annihilation event, I bought it in individuals, and having those very large collected editions on my bookshelf would look great. But I don't have those. They're stuck with the floppies.
Alex, I'm originally. I grew up in the state of Virginia. I lived in California for about 20 years, and now I'm living in Texas.
You get a better deal than I do to Australia, Werewolf. 20 comics for $20. So I'm sure it's a lot more than that when I buy from my comic shop. So maybe they're cheaper to Australia than they are to England.
Probably.
It's probably at $32, I think, if I was to get 20 comics from my comic shop. But I like to do, kind of like, in a way, you get cheaper. The comics are cheaper from there anyway. So I think it's kind of swings and roundabouts. If I was to buy them from here, they'd cost them a lot more per comic. The postage might be less, but the comics themselves would cost me more. But if I go to like my comic shop, quite often you can get them for $2, $3, but the postage is like, but I think it's like works out about the same probably.
Yeah, and then you have duties, the import duty you got to pay and stuff like that.
I've never had import duty from mycomicshop.com. No, I don't know if it's going to change now that we're out of the EU. I bloody well hope not. Oh.
Well, I know when I send those to you, I'm going to send them as a gift because that's exactly what it will be. You're not paying me anything for them. So I can do that and feel good about it. If you were paying something for it, I'd want to try to pay the duties up front so you wouldn't have to.
Right. I don't think I've ever had duty, but so I don't know if it's if I've just been lucky. Sometimes you do hear like people like getting a package and suddenly they're trying to whack some duty on it, but it doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes I don't know. Don't know what the rules are.
Well, if they state a value, then they're supposed to pay a duty on it.
Okay.
At least that's how I remember it.
They import duty over $1,000. So you have to pay an awful lot to go over that. Maybe there's a limit here as well in the UK. Maybe there's a certain amount.
Yeah, there probably is.
What are you collecting at the moment, Paul? Are you after anything this year? Did you make a list of what you wanted for this year?
Well, now that I have a new job, probably going to have more money by the end of the year. And I'm going to be focusing on Europeans now. A Portuguese publisher is reprinting the Spanish series, The Mercenary, which was a painted comic, sort of science fantasy, that was pretty famous around here in the 90s. The comic originally came out in a heavy metal type magazine in the 80s. It was kind of it was called C-Mock, comic backwards. And it was sort of halfway point between Epic Illustrated and Heavy Metal magazine.
Right. I had quite a lot of them Epic Illustrated, and I didn't treat them well at all. Now I've got pieces of Epic Illustrated. I'm gonna kick myself for that. I can't believe they were just like piled up high. Like I went from my dad's to my house, and now I've got like one or two in good condition, and other covers missing. It's like, oh man, why didn't I look after them? I can't believe it. But never mind.
my favorite underrated comic series. Where do I begin?
Yeah, I've got Sleepwalker. I've got that Sleepwalker. That's quite cool.
I'm gonna have to go with Boris the Bear.
I'm gonna have to go with the Blue Beetle run, the DC Blue Beetle run.
That was a good one too.
Always enjoy that one.
Yeah, I once saw something and I just had to buy it. It's also very not very well known, and it came out in Dark Horse Presents around the same time as Boris the Bear. It was called Tracker by Ron Randall.
Tracker was really good.
Yeah, and when there was a collected edition, Ron Randall, I remember this guy. It was great. Ron Randall used to do a backup feature in Warlord called The Barren Earth.
Yep.
And The Barren Earth was published in Brazil as a backup on the New Teen Titans. They didn't publish Warlord all the way through. They published like 20
and I think
issues.
Warlord is another underrated comic.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. This one, I don't know if you guys know this one, Agents of Atlas.
I've heard of it. Eh?
The first team, not the team that is actually now. I think it's an all Asian team, but the first team with the Gorilla Man, Venus, Agent John Woo.
I love that.
Marvel Boy, the Robot Man. I think it was his name. This was, I think, a very fun and underrated series for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is that that's not members of the villain team? Is it the Uni Men, the Headmen? No,
no,
the Headmen, is it?
No, they're mostly characters from the 1950s who appeared together as a team for the first time in a What If, exactly. And then around 2006, Jeff Parker decided, let's bring all of these characters together. Let's do a new comic with them, and it was a great fun adventure.
Is there one called Red Ape or something like that?
No, Red Ape was a villain for the Fantastic Four, I think. No, Gorilla Man was, like Paulo said, a character from a short story in a Marvel horror line in the 50s.
Right.
But they were.
I think I sort of heard about them in passing, but that was about it. I think I was looking up Atlas, and I saw that. I'm looking up the other Atlas, and I saw that, and I've read about them, but. Yeah, I never.
You'll find them in What If number 9. What if the Avengers had been founded in the 1950s, and that's where they get all those characters together.
In December of last year, I decided, I should try to collect Warlord. I had the first issue. In January, I bought 9 long boxes of comics, and in that the full run of Warlord, except the first issue. So I never put it on my list because I was considering collecting it, and there all of a sudden I had them.
All right. You got the first appearances. What is it? Is it called First? Was there a series called First?
Yeah.
DC First. That's the first Warlock is.
The first issue special.
First issue. Yeah. That was it. First issue.
Yeah, there was like 13 of them. Most of them were by Kirby.
Yeah, and the funny thing is to own the ones that didn't have new stories because they're really weird. And one of Kirby's was Atlas the Mighty or something.
Yeah.
Then there were the Dingbats of Danger Street.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That was great.
But Lady Cop, and they've got
Lady Cop. Yeah.
The Outsiders.
Assassin. Yeah.
The Outsiders, and also the Green Team, the Boy Billionaires.
The Green Team was great.
I had that as a kid. and I remember having it as a kid, and I must have sold it at some point. I bought it again remently. As I saw it, I thought I remember having that one. I'm buying that one again. It was a weird story. It was a very weird story.
I'm thinking the last issue of that was New Gods. Featured New Gods.
Yeah, it had the New Gods redesign.
Yeah, I think that was the last
Jerry Conway stuff. Yeah, with Jerry Conway stories.
I know there's a Creeper in there as well. I've got a Creeper. I think maybe a Dr. Fate as well. I think first issue.
I don't remember. I've got them all. As a matter of fact, I would have had a second set in near mint condition, but it never got delivered. There was
also the Blue Star Man.
There were some packages that were stolen from me, and we don't know. They claimed they were delivered, but they never arrived. So
sucks. Yeah, Sandman Mystery Theater was a really good series. I love that for Sandman Mystery Theater. It was one of my favourites at the time it was coming out. I've got the whole series of that one. Good stuff.
I wouldn't say it's underrated, though. I mean, it has a very specific fan base. It's big.
Yeah, but very small fan base. It was a very obscure series. It lived
on.
At
the time it came out, but now it's gained a lot more fans as people learned about it.
Yeah, a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of people I know that I mention it, they go, "Oh yeah, it's a really good series." So maybe
I never see them in comic book halls and on YouTube.
No.
I watch a lot of videos, and I never see them in anyone's comic book hall.
My first video, I think, was me going through my Sandman Mystery Theater because it was the first box that I got down from the top shelf as I started sharing my comic book. I'm pretty sure
my favorite series from Vertigo was Preacher. And one of the things I like about it is it starts and there's an ending. The last issue ends the series and it's never picked up again. To this day, it's not been picked up again.
Yeah. My favorite was Transmetropolitan.
Oh, that was great too.
Never tried that one. Never tried that.
I've got about
weird to me.
Issues of that.
It's like Warlord. I never really considered buying Warlord because I was never like buying sword and sorcery, fantasy kind of stuff. And like I never had any Conan issues till a couple of years ago. I got gifted a few by Fiver's Revenge, and he was like sent me a couple. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll read them. And it's like, oh fuck, I've got to buy them now. Oh no! Oh, what did you send these to me for?
Warlord's
now I
a good
need to
series, and
buy them.
it's not real expensive, but there's a lot of them.
I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to avoid reading them so I don't get into like, I've got a finite amount of space and a finite amount of money.
Note to self, add a few Warlords to.
No. There's got to be a limit. There has to be a limit. I've got like 12 pages. I'm thinking on my notes of stuff that I'm trying to get. So, yeah, I've got to stop adding new stuff to it.
Oh, I've got thousands of comics I want, but and the way I tell people is I don't need any comics, but I want a lot of them. Yeah. And then I make a very specific numbers that I want to get, a very specific list that I want. Each year I'd like to get these. And the very first item on that list every year is a Golden Age Superman.
Yeah, I want to get at least. I've not got any Golden Age comics. I want to get at least one Golden Age comics, and that's it. One. I want to do one Golden Age. Then I can say I've got.
No, one never does. One will never do because once you go through it and read it, and it's intoxicating, and then you want another and another and another.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's one of the reasons I collect westerns because in the Golden Age, westerns are about the cheapest books you can find, and it is. They can be really fun,
and they're good stories.
And sometimes you can get great art. Frank Frazetta drew a lot of Western in the 50s. You had great artists. John Severin did a lot.
That's
Golden Age.
That's the one you tore the corner off when you was trying to clean it, wasn't it?
That's considered a Golden Age.
Oh, yeah, nice.
It came out in 1953, but it's still considered Golden Age. And, of course, that's a Kirby cover, too.
Oh, actually, I might have a Golden Age because I've got a Classics Comics Illustrated, which I think might have been 1950, but it depends if it was a reprint one or not. There's that Green Meadows.
If it was printed in 1950 and you can date it to that period, it is.
I'm not 100% sure because you did help me with trying to date that one once because it was the first appearance of Rima the Jungle Girl because I think it was called Green Meadows. I think it was called something like
Green
that.
Mansions.
Green Mansions, that's the one. Yeah, Green Mansions. Because I was really surprised, because I literally had one Rima the Jungle Girl. I had no idea where it came from. It had been in my collection for ages. I didn't remember if I even read it or not. I probably had, but forgotten about it.
Everybody has number one in their collection.
No, it wasn't number one.
It was the rest of them.
It was at number 3 or something like that. But it was just like, well, you know what? There's only 7 of these comics. I'll pick them up. But, and I was really impressed with it. When I read it, I was like, oh man, I fell in love. I really loved it. And so I wanted to get the first appearance in the Green Mansions. I read up about it. I found out she was older than Tarzan, predated him, and so I got that Rima the Jungle. So I was quite proud of that, quite pleased with that to have that comic.
No, she doesn't predate the Tarzan comic. The earliest Tarzan comic.
She does.
The earliest Tarzan comic was from 1939.
No, but the actual character.
The actual character. She
was in a novel. Yeah,
she was from the 1800s, I think.
No, she's 1903 or something.
She came up. Yeah. She came up 2 or 3 years before Tarzan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So around 1906 or 1909.
Yeah, sure. I did have it memorized at one point because I mentioned it a couple of times, but I can't remember what it was now. Let's find a window I can open so I can do a quick search. I really enjoyed that story. I really enjoyed the little run. And another one that I really enjoyed recently, I didn't expect to get anything out of, was Anthro. I don't know if you guys have ever heard Anthro.
1904.
1904. What did I say? 1903, I think I said. Yeah, that's cool. I was close.
I have the book back there, but
it's nice to have an extra computer.
Yeah. What book have you got there, Ranger Sly?
Green Mansions, but I never managed to finish it. It's not easy to read.
It's
the literature dated. In 1903 or in 1904 was not very exciting. No. So it's very hard to get through. I'm only halfway in it, but I have trouble finishing it. I keep pushing it aside, starting another novel and trying to get back to it, but
get the Classic Comics Illustrated. It's a lot easier to read.
No, I don't have it.
It's a lot easier to read than actually reading the actual book. Yeah, Tarzan was 1912 apparently.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice international show. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it's a.
The United Nations of streamers.
So you guys want to see some foreign editions of Marvels and DCs?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. Okay. So I took some of these out. So these are U.S. comic size, which was not the norm for the Brazilian comics, but they were kind of special editions, so they deserved it. Sort of Azrael #1.
Yeah.
And #2. You'll notice the price stickers that they put in the newsstand. And I'm not taking these off, otherwise it's going to rip the cover.
Too bad.
Batman, Tarzan, Claws of the Catwoman, #1. It's a nice Igor Kordek art. And #2, also a very large sticker covering the logo. Yeah. I have stickers on all my comics.
I don't know if I ever saw that Claws of the Catwoman.
It was one of those DC Dark Horse crossovers.
Oh, DC Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Tarzan. That's why. Sorry, I think it's Claws of the Catwoman. Did you say it was called?
Yeah.
I see Catwoman from Batman's in it. Is she or?
It's a different Catwoman.
Ah, right.
Silver Surfer Parable.
Moebius.
Yep.
Surfista Prateado.
Prateado.
So Prateado means silver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as an adjective.
Right.
Death Trap The Vault. This was the last issue of their Marvel graphic novel series. You notice that these are regular magazines. They don't have they have regular stitches, but they were publishing this as magazine size, and then they stopped. Revenge of the Living Monolith.
It's got a lot of border on it, that one.
Yeah. It's the way I stack them, kind of. Okay, this one reprints European comics. Aventura e Ficção. This is Morgan, a series created in CMOC magazine by what was the name of the guy? Yeah, Jose Ortiz and Antonio Segura. This magazine was actually published in black and white. Let's see if I can show some art.
Most of the UK ones were black and white most of the time. Mm-hmm. The weekly ones, because we always was weekly. What was it? Was it weekly in Portugal, or was it monthly?
Which ones?
Most of your comic books. Because in America was always monthly, weren't they? But in the UK, it'd always be weekly.
We had weekly magazines when they focused on newspaper strips and European material. The Marvel and DC superheroes were imported from Brazil, and those were weekly. And those were monthly.
Mm.
Yeah. This is the sort of stuff that they published in this magazine. For the first 14 issues, it actually used stuff from Bizarre Adventures, but then when the material ran out, they started using mostly Spanish material.
Cool.
So you've got a lot of characters like in Europe, but they don't sort of travel to America, do they? It's not much of a two-way street when it comes to...
that's why I had that show with the Graphic Man about Asterix, because he wanted to talk about it, but it's something that doesn't interest mostly the American audience. Don't care, even if Asterix is world famous. There's sort of a barrier there.
I learned about Asterix while I was in Germany, and
Asterix,
the best.
I haven't read him in ages though. I feel like I need to go and get an Asterix compendium because they were always so hilarious. They were just the stories.
That's what I was talking you about the Greyman last week when we chatted together. That I consider myself very lucky to live in Quebec because we had access to both American comic books and also European comic books. So I grew up with Asterix, Tintin, or Tintin, as you say in English. The Moebius stuff from Blueberry, the Blueberry Cowboy stuff by Moebius.
I have to be pedantic about it. It's not Moebius. It's Jean Giraud.
You're right. He didn't sign Moebius on Blueberry. You're right.
Yeah, Moebius is only for the science fiction material.
Okay.
Right. And also, we would get the magazine from France and Belgium mostly. Pif Gadget, Tintin, Spirou, all those magazines.
Yeah.
Plus all the American stuff also. So.
So I remember there was Tintin, but I never bought any Tintin. Asterix, definitely Asterix, and the only the Hermetic Garage is the only one I ever read of Moebius, and I was kind of scratching my head and I was like,
you need shrooms. You need shrooms to understand that one.
Maybe that's why I didn't understand it then, because I didn't do enough shrooms.
Because if you expect something, the most famous science fiction series that Moebius worked on was the Incal, but he didn't write that. That's Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
So the stuff that he put out with the Airtight Garage and the Arzak universe, there's really not much of a story there, especially the Arzak stuff.
I mean, it was printed in heavy metal here, and I just enjoyed the art. I didn't care about the story because there wasn't one, like you said, but the art was just incredible.
There was a film I saw recently. It was based on a European comic. I can't remember what it was called now, but I think it was a French comic or something. I think the film bombed, but it was a really good film, really good special effects in that. I can't remember. It was I think it was like a man and a woman's name. I'm sure it was and it was like kind of science fiction kind of thing. And there was, I don't know, on a giant spaceship or something.
Valerian and Laureline.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think it was called Valerian or something like that. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the actual.
Yeah, the movie.
Now that I think about
the movie, it wasn't very good from what I hear.
The only comic-related thing I ever remember that I have actually regretted selling is my collection of heavy metal, because I had like the first 5 years. And that's really the only thing I've regretted selling. A little regret that I sold my original Hulk 1 through 6, but
wow,
I made good money off of it, so it's not that bad.
Yeah,
and you can buy a Masterworks if you want to have the stories again.
Yeah,
but the stuff that came out in heavy metal, you're never going to get that back unless you pay through the roof.
Unless I go and buy the magazines again.
I feel I had about one heavy metal magazine ever. I haven't got it anymore. I remember buying it and going, seems to be lots of men's genitals flopping around and like boobs, and it's like, okay, this is interesting. Not
that was heavy metal.
Not too sure I'm understanding the stories, but I do like the pictures. Most of them, the lady centric ones, obviously.
Gore Vidal usually likes to when he's in the chat. He likes to tell how he bought heavy metal in Texas because at age 10, because the newsstand guy had no idea what was inside it. It was a comic book, whatever.
Exactly.
Well, it was a magazine. It was a magazine.
Yeah. But to him, it was a comic book with spaceships, so he didn't care.
Yeah. It's like the Epic one. That was a little bit adult as well, and my dad used to buy that for me when we was, I don't know how old we were, but then you'd have like some alluring kind of Boris Vallejo covers in there and all that, with like ladies in states of undress, and they'd be like, "Woohoo! This is the pre-internet days."
That's when that's why when I had a chance to grab all of the Monster Times, the whole run of it, I just jumped on it, and my wife figured I was going to sell them, put them in the store to sell. But no, they went into a box, and they followed me around. I have never gotten rid of those. So, and those are also hard to find.
Bone is great. Kind of vaguely.
Yeah, I've never managed to sit down and read Bone. A friend of mine has that very large, that very thick book with all the stories. But I've never managed to. I borrowed it, but I couldn't read it.
I've got like the first 20 issues. second print of number 1, and then all the rest of them are first prints.
Is
And
he
then I've
kind of
got-
like a little
and then I've got a
white
bunch-
Bobby character?
Yeah, it's like a cartoon character.
He's
But
kind of like white Bobby,
but then I've got like the first 5 of the hardbacks also.
Yeah, I've seen. I can't remember what it looks like. I don't think I've ever read any though. There was an artist I remember. I think in like some of the like adult comic books, Vaughan Bode or something like that. Does
Yeah,
anyone
Bone,
know?
it was done by Jeff Smith.
I'm sure there's an artist called something like Vaughan Bode as well.
Von
so
Bode,
one-
he was an underground artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he used to do some really weird kind of characters of riding on strange looking camel things, like with like long guns. I seem to they were kind of weird stories. A mosquito in here, I want to kill it if I can.
Well, I think I'm going to hop off here and go fix myself some dinner.
Good idea, mate. Good idea.
And then I'll probably check out Mike's auction if he has it tonight. See what's going on with that.
Same
Yeah.
here, man. We've been doing this for more than 2 hours now.
Yeah, it's got to midnight here as well, so it's a good enough time as any to go to bed, I suppose.
Mhm.
Cheers for coming on, guys.
All right.
No problem.
See you next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
See
ya.
hopefully, so I might be doing this like every Saturday now, me and Ranger maybe. We'll see, and if anyone wants to come on,
All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
feel free.
If I'm available, I might do that.
Yeah, cool. See you later, everybody.
Okay,
Thanks
see
for
ya.
watching.
Bye.
Bye.